live betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
Yeah, we've got a single white female situation with a coworker that needs to be squared away by the end of the program as we say hi. The big guy has got plans. Is what he said. I have no clue what he's talking about, but we do say hi. Dustin Swedelson, SiriusXM Studios there with John Goulet at the Wynn in Las Vegas. I'm Patrick Meagher live from Los Angeles. Nia Hardman, New York City. Ryan Smith, Steady Ryan in Las Vegas, running youtube.com/VSiN Live as we welcome you in on a Tuesday. Hope you're doing well. I'll give you the number, 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. Set you up quickly on what we've got on tap, and we'll get into the program. All right, so we do have a Game 4 coming up, Knicks-Pacers. Look, this is going to be interesting. It's 2.5 at Circa, so remember when we're talking about Circa Sports, that's quote-unquote the sharp book. Take it for what you will, but bettors that seem to know what they're talking about, they're not going to get limited over there. And the number is Indiana 2.5. So maybe some Knicks bettors over at Circa because I do see 3.5s in the market, but mostly threes. So Indiana laying 3, 219.5 on the total, somewhere in there with the Knicks looking to even up that series. We do have hockey tonight. Great series in the West, although Edmonton put a beatdown a couple of nights ago on Dallas, 6-1. McDavid is flying right now, leading the postseason in points. And tonight you're going to have the Oilers up 2-1 in that series, around a $1.50 favorite with a 6.5 total. So that is that as we get you started. Elsewhere on the program today, I had no clue. Dustin sent me over something with Sankey and the SEC. I have no clue what is happening, but apparently there's drama in college football, which we will get to. 100 days out, Dustin tells me, to the NFL, and we do have the Rodgers watch continuing, which is just what he wants. Aaron Rodgers is keeping everybody in limbo, including the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll see when he decides to drop the charade and join the Steelers, though there are some rumors that he wants to be a part of the Minnesota Vikings. I don't think the Vikings want him. Who does? Certainly not his ex-girlfriends. Google it. Kirk Cousins didn't show up at OTAs with the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, while maybe they fell into it with Michael Penix Jr., who I think is going to be a very good quarterback, they completely botched the Cousins situation. They owe him $100 million. And Cousins isn't showing up to OTAs because he's trying to find another team. Obviously, the Falcons, who just paid him $10 million in March with a bonus, want him to find a trade partner. But instead, they're going to have the highest paid backup in the history of anything if he decides to stick around there in hot Atlanta. So a couple quarterback stories there, as I mentioned, just 100 days out from the NFL, which I think a lot of people back in the day when I was growing up, my mom used to put up this calendar. This is where Dustin will let me know he's Jewish, like I care. But they will put up the calendar, and you open up, Dustin, you open up like hey, it's December 14th, and behind that little door is a piece of chocolate. And you eat the chocolate, and you celebrate because Christmas is right around the corner. That's what a lot of grown-ass men and women do with 100 days out from the NFL season. They just can't wait to get involved and, of course, bet their asses off come the NFL season as we say hi.
Yeah, and that's called an advent calendar, and I know that because before I'm Jewish, I'm fat first, so it involves candy, so I'm really well-versed in that calendar. A couple things. One, you said there's a single white female situation. I just want to note that is my least favorite Pornhub category. Also, I want to point out tonight, this could be a dangerous show. I could be crashing out in front of your eyes because on my drive in, do you know what I realized? I realized as a Knicks fan, because if they lose this game tonight, series over. Series is completely over. All of my emotions hinge on whether Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright can step up in a playoff game for the Knicks. That's a bad place to be if you're a fan of a team.
Well, Shamet and Wright are dangerous for you, but I think Karl Anthony Towns might actually be the most lethal, as he was incredible. He was terrible for 3 quarters, and in the fourth quarter, he turned into Michael Jordan. So can he continue that into Game 4? The zesty one, Karl Anthony Towns, we shall find out. We'll have plenty to unpack with that game, which is tipping about 5:10ish my time, 8:10ish your time on the East. Dallas, Edmonton, around 5 o'clock on the ice. Last night, let's go through this quickly. I actually bought the point, so we ended up pushing on the 2. Actually ended up being a great game, and it's a 3-1 series lead for the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's a couple things that come out of this. First off, a ton of points. We saw the escalation in the first quarter. Just points, and a 128-126 winner. SGA dropped 40 on the T-Wolves, so the Thunder take a 3-1 series lead. That was fascinating for a couple of reasons, and we'll get into some weird comments made today on ESPN by Kendrick Perkins about the face of the NBA, which we should discuss. But the face of the NBA, or the conversation about SGA and Anthony Edwards, is just not a conversation. If you didn't watch the game, you missed out on some brilliance. And Jalen Williams went off as well. He had 34. He was awesome. Chet Holmgren was spectacular in the game with a couple of late blocks that kind of saved them. But the story was Gilgeous-Alexander. Well, he wasn't great from the floor, just clutch shot after clutch shot. He has that mid-range game as well, and he's a great assist guy. I believe he had 10 dimes, 9 boards, and 40 points if you need them. Those numbers are getting pretty historic, 40, 10, and 9 for Gilgeous-Alexander. But late, he has a mid-range game I'd compare to somebody like Richard Hamilton. Remember Rip Hamilton with the Pistons by way of UConn, a mid-range game which had become kind of a lost art. SGA's turnarounds, SGA's ability to make space with his movement. He is freaking spectacular. On the other side, you had Anthony Edwards with 16 points, really a non-factor in the game. So the conversation about face of the NBA, SGA's not going to be the face of the NBA because, hello, he's Canadian and nobody wants to buy in. But the conversation of who is the better young player, SGA is on this tier, which is way up here, and Anthony Edwards is just a cute, pesky little player at this point.
Yeah, but this is classic NBA situation with a debate. This is how the NBA always goes. People want to fall for the charm and the entertaining quotes and the highlight reel plays, although there haven't been that many in this postseason, at least in this series for Anthony Edwards. You want to fall for all the shtick. You believe Anthony Edwards is that dude. If you're just going to watch the basketball, who's the better basketball player? They're not even in the same stratosphere. SGA bores you because he's Kawhi Leonard. Right? There's not a lot of personality there. There's not a lot of fun there. There's not a lot of highlight reels that blow your mind. But what there is, key shots, great defense, makes everyone around him better, and dominates when it matters in the fourth quarter of games. So if you like shtick, Anthony Edwards is your guy. If you like winning championships, you ride with SGA all day.
So you're an Anthony Edwards guy?
No. Because I'm a shtick guy? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No. I've not fallen for the shtick here. This is one thing that I've actually been ahead on. I don't see it because if you're Anthony Edwards, you want to be the number one dude. You want to be the alpha on a team. You can't take 13 shots in a game like last night at home where you need that win to make this series interesting, and instead now you're down 3-1. 13 shots is unacceptable. In fact, here's Anthony Edwards talking about his struggles after the game.
I don't look at it like I struggled or he struggled. They had a good game plan, making us get off the ball. Especially for me, man, it was super in the gaps. I made the right play all night, so I don't really look at it like I struggled. I didn't get enough shots to say I struggled, so that might be how you guys look at it. But yeah, I didn't struggle at all. I made the right play.
Yeah, he's just digging into pride. I get it. But he's been sporadic with the attempts, which is something you can't do. McDaniels had 15 attempts, and he had just 13. He said he's making the right plays. I just said SGA had 10 dimes. He had 6. So the plays didn't turn into points as far as assists. You seem to have an issue with Ant, is what I would say.
No, I have an issue with everyone else crowning him. I look around the league. I think the NBA has a lot of really great talent. But to hype him up because he kind of looks like a young Michael Jordan when he had hair and think that makes him the next face of the league, that makes no sense to me. I think Anthony Edwards is a very good basketball player. He's not great. He's not great. The baseline isn't high enough. I know going into a game what I'm going to get from the top 5 to 10 stars in the NBA. With Anthony Edwards, it's a lot of up and down. I don't know which version I'm going to get. And in a big spot in the playoffs, I need to rely on my superstars. If he's the face of the league, he's dropping 25, 30 points last night easy.
I only said shtick because you love Rodman. And Rodman literally was just driven by shtick. So,
but I like... Yeah, I like shtick from like those tertiary players. Like, I don't want my superstar to be about shtick.
You have amendments for shtick?
No, like I appreciate Nikola Jokic and his greatness. If he was doing shtick out here, it would stink. It would be boring. I appreciate it, but like I'm okay with the weird personalities being guys further down the starting lineup and on the bench. But Anthony Edwards isn't even doing shtick. I think everyone's falling for shtick. Everyone thinks because they watch a highlight on their Twitter feed after a game that he's this special player. I bet you right now there are 10 players in the league we would take over Anthony Edwards right now. 10.
I love you. I love you because when you jumped into that sentence, you just made it all up as you went, and it was the best. You like the tertiary shtick, don't like primary shtick. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. The bottom line is SGA. We should focus on him for a second.
I agree.
He is. We've been so laudatory and got ahead of ourselves, especially after they got beat by 42 points in Game 3, which is a freaking embarrassment after we said how great they were on Friday. I don't know if we can overstate how great this kid is. He just won an MVP, but he just does so much for the team. You mentioned playing really good defense. Now he subbed last night for defense, but that makes sense. Dagnall's a brilliant coach. They take the fouls when they're up. It's a whole thing. They've got it figured out. But SGA, it's just like when he's in the game, you go by feel. Sometimes you got to throw the metrics aside. And when SGA and Ant are on the floor, you just feel better about your opportunities. And by the way, it was a 2-point game last night in Minneapolis. Yep. With an opportunity to tie it up. And as you mentioned, just 13 attempts. Like, you only lost by 2. If you got more, then you win the ball game. That's an issue if you're an Ant backer today.
Well, there's a lot of issues, and unfortunately, Minnesota is going to be looked at as a team that got beat pretty handily by Oklahoma City here. They're a good team. A couple of things jumped out immediately after last night. Timberwolves shot 51.2% and made 18 threes. Before last night, teams that shot 50% or better from the floor and made 18-plus threes were 55-0 in the playoffs. They're the one loss. Minnesota also led the game in rebounds, assists, points off turnovers, fast break points, points in the paint, second chance points, everything with free throws, field goal percentage, three-point percentage, free throw percentage. And they lost the game. They dominated the stat sheet. But Oklahoma City is just different. They're built for any style of fight. When Jalen Williams is scoring from the outside the way he was last night, they just take on a different level of team offensively. And I'll bring it back to SGA. Part of that is, one thing I've been really impressed by with SGA is when these games start out, he doesn't mind feeling things out, getting everyone else involved before he starts calling his own number. And he'll wait till the third, fourth quarter to really be ball dominant and scoring a ton. He sees what his teammates are offering, and if they're cold, he steps in early. But he has no problem getting everyone else involved early. And I think that's really important as part of their success.
Jalen Williams, we were wondering, and last year in the postseason, he wasn't a legit number 2. He's starting to prove he can be that guy because when SGA was on the bench last night, Jalen Williams just literally took over. And Holmgren is becoming a force. Holmgren is a guy we should discuss because he can stretch, but he's not always living on the perimeter a la Cat, although Cat did play well in Game 3 down low as well. But Holmgren, with his ability to help out on defense and block key shots when they need him, he's tremendous as well. Williams and Holmgren, a little appreciation for the two.
Yeah, I think the Holmgren piece really jumps out because it doesn't always show up in the box score. It's more just his presence that is really forcing Anthony Edwards to live on the perimeter. Anthony Edwards is afraid to drive the lane because he knows Holmgren is there waiting, but he helps on defense. He's all over the place. And the Jalen Williams discussion is really interesting. I think he's like 24, 25 years old. I compared him to Randall yesterday, just in the sense that, is he a 2 or is he a 3? He's young enough to prove that he's a 2 here. And he did last night, 34 points. He shoots beyond the arc. He's a 6'5" forward. He's pretty versatile. He can do a little bit of everything. Again, went over his assist prop. That just goes to show he fits what they want to do. All these guys are so good with the ball movement. He had 5 assists. SGA had 10 assists. Wallace had 3 off the bench. When I watch this team, when it comes to Holmgren, Williams, and all of the other non-quote-unquote number one with SGA, around SGA, all those guys, to me, they all have different skills that they bring to the table, and somehow this team's able to highlight all of them. And with Holmgren, that length is an issue on the defensive end for Minnesota.
Yeah, they've got a 1 with a bullet in SGA, and they've got 2 2s with Jalen Williams and Holmgren, and then they've got about 5 3s. Caruso's a great 3. Dort's a 3. Hartenstein, who only played 15 minutes, so they're going small. Caruso gave you 33 minutes. Dort gave you 30 minutes. Williams gave you 12. Wallace gave you 27. Hartenstein 15. So they've just got a big in the garage that they don't even need, who could be useful, but they have so much lineup versatility. That is why you love the team. It's just the versatility. Anything you throw at them, they have a counter for.
I'm telling you, that's why I've bought in. This team is built to do it any way you want. Any way you want it, they'll play your game, they'll play your style. Then at some point, they'll flip the script and they'll start dictating how the game is played. And that's with turning points or turnovers into points over and over again. And by the time you look up, the game's over. I think this team is in a position right now to be the next dynasty in the NBA. And I know people don't like to hear it, and I didn't want to hear it for a while, but I'm all in. And I'm at the point now where, as much as I want the hype of them trading a couple pieces and picks to go get Giannis, I don't think you break this core up. I think this core is only getting better. They're all improving. The chemistry is only going to improve, and it's off the charts right now. This is one of the most special things we're witnessing in sports, is the Oklahoma City Thunder coming to fruition.
You were trying to convince me 3 days ago that Giannis would be the perfect piece for this team.
It would be fun. I still think they could do it by just trading like Holmgren and Topic and a bunch of picks.
Why would you ever trade Holmgren? Why would you ever do anything to mess with this chemistry?
Because it would be fun. It would be a fun story to have Giannis choose Oklahoma City over Miami and LA and New York. That would be fun.
Somebody get Sam Presti, who runs Oklahoma City, on the phone and tell him the big guy's bored.
Hey, you don't like my other one is I want Kevin Durant to go to Oklahoma City and help them win more titles.
No, hey, you wouldn't even be able to sleep at night. You had so much fun.
I hate you so much.
You get so bitter. Oh, if you think the big guy's bitter at me now, death, taxes, and an announcement later.
Oh, no.
Don't worry.
Oh, no.
Don't worry. I'm not going to throw you under the bus. Don't worry. Don't worry. Oh, no. It's just death, taxes, and the big guy. And I'll explain coming up in just a little bit. We do have Samich joining us on the program. Hey, listen, all kidding aside, I'm just happy we're going to get into, obviously, your Knicks. And essentially, like you said, a must-win coming up tonight. I'm just happy you're on the Oklahoma. You won't move to Oklahoma City. You won't call your boo after the show and say, hey, let's move to Oklahoma City. I freaking love this team. I just dialed in 4 days ago, but I'm all the way in, and I'm, quote, having fun.
Look, there's a lot of cities in the country that would be a tough sell for me in that spot. Oklahoma City might be number one on the list, by the way. That might be the hardest sell. No offense to everyone in Oklahoma City. I've never been, but it doesn't seem like it fits the vibe. That's all
I think there's a lot of people in Oklahoma City thinking, this dummy on national radio just said it's the worst place to live, and then he said, I've never been. Look, living in Vegas, this is the first time I've not lived on a border state. I normally live on the outside of the country. Generally, the middle of the country is where dreams go to die, and unfortunately, Oklahoma City is in the middle of the country. Where, by the way, of the natural disasters, I can tolerate almost all of them. The one that I can't live with is constant tornadoes. I'm sorry. They just pop up out of nowhere. They wipe everything out. I can't be in tornado country. I hear you, brother. I never knew you had a border state theory, but it is May 27th, 2025, and I learn something new about you every day. You got a border theory.
And I would like to add, it is May 27th at 4:21 Pacific time, and Michael Lombardi has yet to comment on the Jordan Hudson situation.
Hey, if the word got back to Lombardi that you were Team Florio yesterday, you're going to have some issues with old Michael Lombardi because your boy right here had his back through and through.
No, I know, and Lombardi's a big mafia guy, so he doesn't like going against the family stuff, so I might be in trouble.
La Familia. You better chill out. No, it's Oklahoma City's tremendous. They're going to move on. My guess is the adjustment in the series price is $1 billion to win $1 on Oklahoma City. And then if you think that Ant and Minnesota can come back, you can make like 100,000 off $1.
Yeah, look, it's only minus 4,000 in Oklahoma City. If you're someone with like $100,000, I would put it on there. It's better than any interest rate you're going to get on any stock or any savings account right now. Minus 4,000, Oklahoma City's moving on.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. The big guy. He's on a roll today. Things are looking up in life. What you just mentioned, you're a big border state guy. How do you like living in Las Vegas? For those that haven't ever lived in Las Vegas, would you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I would say human beings were not supposed to make permanent residency in the desert. That's what I would say. One, there's not enough water for everyone. That's an issue. Like, that's number one. Number two, it was 100 degrees on my drive-in, and my air conditioning could only get so cold in my Kia. Now, maybe that's a Kia issue and not a Las Vegas issue, but they seem to combine in this situation to make my life a living hell in that car. And then, Vegas. It's cool. It's okay. I wouldn't endorse it.
Yeah, you didn't get the memo. If you're going to buy a Kia, border state.
Border state. Fits better. Fits better.
We got some theories today to start. We're only 23 minutes in, but we've learned a lot about the guy. He's into shtick, but only for tertiary players, and also a big border state guy.
Yeah.
So remember that if you're in real estate looking to sell a crib, the big guy's coming to the border. And I'm not talking Texas, okay?
No ice talk on the show today. No ice talk.
888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. So we're off to a flying start. Look, when we come back, we have to get predictions on this game tonight. I'm actually a little befuddled. Like, for me, if I'm betting the game, I run it back with the Pacers. My expectation is that second half was an anomaly. We haven't seen that version of Indiana. I mean, you would agree. We haven't seen that version of Indiana in a while, where the clutch, however they had been performing, and that includes Tyrese Halliburton, however they had been performing was literally the antithesis in that second half at home, where it's almost like they froze up. They couldn't get into their offensive sets, and I expect a reversal. I expect Carlisle to come out with a plan to shut down Karl Anthony Towns and say, a labored at this point, Jalen Brunson, you're going to have to beat us by yourself. That's my expectation tonight.
And I would also say that run happened with Jalen Brunson off the floor. Jalen Brunson, who has the ball in his hands at all times for the Knicks offense, facilitating everything, controlling all of their offensive plays. I do think part of the reason why Indiana didn't know what to do is because all their preparation was for a team run by Jalen Brunson, with him being the floor general. As soon as Brunson's out of the equation, you're now getting extended minutes from Deuce McBride and DeLon Wright and other guys at the point guard spot, where the offense completely changed and they ran it through Cat. I don't believe Rick Carlisle had a game plan for what happens when Cat's the one with the ball at the top of the key. Now that they saw that, let's see how Indiana adjusts here. I'd also say another element we're not bringing up is Tyrese Halliburton has not been good since his dad was banned from seeing him in person. 19 points per game, 8 assists per game, 1.1 steals per game. John Halliburton's in the building tonight. That could be dangerous for the New York Knicks, as Tyrese Halliburton could put on a show in front of his father.
What I've learned about you is you have 3 obsessions lately. You have an obsession with whether or not Tyrese Halliburton's dad is allowed in the arena. That's 1. You have an obsession with Karl Anthony Towns' accents. That's number 2. And your third obsession, it was at the top of mind. You probably remember. You want to give it to me?
Don't live in the middle of the country till your dreams die.
Hey, listen, flyover state. I'm a big flyover state guy. So don't lump me. A lot of times people lump us in together. Don't lump me in. Do not lump me in with the big guy crushing the middle of the country. I'm from Michigan. I know that's considered Midwest, but it's right there in the middle. So please leave me alone. When we come back, let's get predictions because we have just about a little over 30 minutes until tip in Indianapolis. And also, wait until you – face of the league. Ant, your obsession.
Yes. Yes.
Tyrese's dad, face of the league, and Karl Anthony Towns' accents. You've been stuck on those three. And when we return, wait until you hear what Kendrick Perkins on Mad Dog's channel, ESPN, the worldwide leader. Last time I saw Dog on ESPN, he was hanging out with Eminem. But this time, Kendrick Perkins jumped on ESPN and said something so outlandish, I cannot believe if you see him on the television tomorrow that they let him back. And we'll tell you exactly what he said next. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. You can go to vsin.com/subscribe, become a pro, get the plays tonight on the wood and the ice from the experts over at VSiN. Get all the betting splits, get the guides for $19. Seriously, it's a great deal. vsin.com/subscribe if you're just getting started or a sophisticated bettor. All the information's there. Use the promo code SIRIUS over at vsin.com/subscribe. 48 minutes countdown is on until Stars-Oilers Game 4 up in Edmonton. And we got drama going on behind the scenes. Even Ryan's involved. It's just getting crazy. Naya's normal, but she's involved in it. It's a mess, people, and we'll fill you in later on exactly what we're talking about. Knicks Pacers coming up in hopefully just about a half hour, as the big guy is a busy man these days, and his attention right now turns to his Knicks, who are catching 3 tonight, looking to even up the series. He is focused on the Knicks, but mostly he's focused on who is the face of the NBA, what accent is Karl Anthony Towns using, and will or won't he, Tyrese's dad, be in the building? So you got a lot on your plate, including a loving relationship. So a lot going on these days.
Yeah, what I would tell you is the easiest part of that, aside from my relationship, before I get myself into trouble, the easiest part of everything you just listed, I just came up with 10 players who are the face of the NBA, and none of them are Anthony Edwards. So I can make the case for these 10 guys before him, and I think I actually could go like 13, 14 deep before I get to Anthony Edwards. I think he has all the potential in the world to be the best player in basketball, but I still think there's a lot of guys higher on the pecking order.
Look, he's a great talent, and I would even say
that's the word.
He's a great talent, and I would say he has shown flashes of being a great player. I mean, he led the league in three-pointers made this year. He averages close to 29 points a game. That's a hell of a basketball player. But when you have a showcase of him and SGA, that's where you start to notice the separation between superstar and star. And that's just where he's at right now. And by the way, to be fair to Anthony Edwards, he's a kid. He's 24, 23 years old. So he has
100%.
Ton of opportunities to ascend to superstardom. He's just not there. And you know who agrees with you that he is not the face of the NBA? That is one big perk. All right? He is a coworker of Christopher Russo over at ESPN. Now, let me just preface this by saying NBA coverage is weird. It just is. NBA coverage is weird. The league is in a weird place. We've got tanking all over the place. You've got social issues that intermingle with people's inability or ability to enjoy the league. You've got something, and I hope most of you don't know what I'm talking about when I say this, but there's something called NBA Twitter. NBA Twitter is a cesspool of people just fighting about the association, and you have somebody named Kendrick Perkins. Now, Kendrick Perkins was a basketball player. He played for the Boston Celtics, believe won a championship. He also played for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And today he was asked on ESPN about the face of the league. And he said, well, I don't believe Anthony Edwards is because he doesn't check all the boxes to be the face of the league. You know who did check the boxes, according to Big Perk? Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, and Steph. Why were they able to be the face of the NBA? Because they were great basketball players. But that's not it, says Big Perk. They were also all married with children. And to be the face of the NBA, this is on ESPN, to be the face of the NBA, you must be a great basketball player and married with child. I'm not making it up. This isn't farcical. This was said on television. This guy's lost his effing mind. First off, Larry Bird talked to his daughter. There's issues. Magic, I remember where I was when homeboy jumped on and said I got HIV. Jordan, okay. Kobe, Colorado. Don't go there. We can keep on going. But they're the face of the – I'm not even disparaging those people, but this notion that we're having a narrative, which you are obsessed with, who is the face of the NBA, you and Big Perk are in good company because both of you don't believe it's Anthony Edwards. It's not because of his basketball prowess from Big Perk. It's because he isn't married with children. What the hell are we doing, people?
Of the crazy things Kendrick Perkins has said in the last week, which one, by the way, last week included, He locked up Dirk, Paul Gasol, Bynum, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu in OKC's 2012 finals run, and said the Thunder never went to an NBA Finals until he arrived on that team, claiming that he was the piece that put them over the top and not, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. I thought that was the craziest thing he ever said. And literally like 5 days later, he's saying this. Yeah, Magic was definitely a family man. That's definitely how he ended up with things going down, was by being a family man. Like a lot. Come on. This is such a preposterous conversation. Yeah, I stopped myself. I caught myself. But it's also not just about Anthony Edwards. It's about the rest of the league. We can have the Anthony Edwards piece with the face of the league, and we have to talk about the rest of the league that is also vying for that spot. And he has not accomplished what those other people have. In fact, he's really accomplished next to nothing. He made a Western Conference final 2 years in a row. That's his accomplishments as the quote-unquote next face of the league. Next might be the right answer, but that time he ends up getting the torch passed to him, it's not anytime soon.
I hear you, brother. Goulet just said LeBron had children and wasn't married until 2013. And that is my point. I don't care what people do in their private life. That is not whatever Magic did, whatever Bird did, whatever Jordan did, whatever LeBron did, whatever Steph does, whatever Shaq does, and what Anthony Edwards does. And all you have to do is a quick Grok or Google search, and you will find out that Anthony Edwards has got some situations going on. But the concept of who is the next face of the NBA has nothing to do with marriage and children. It's goofy. We don't need to stick with it. I just wanted to bring it up because it was said on national television today.
I just think it's crazy to bring up the thought of him being, I'm obsessed. I'm sorry, I can't let it die. In a league where LeBron is still there, in a league where Jokic has won multiple MVPs and a title, where SGA is outplaying him in a series after winning an MVP and likely winning a title this year, in a league where Luka exists, a league where Wembanyama's potential is already showing to be better than Anthony Edwards. I don't even know how you're bringing him up. How is his name even in the conversation for face of the league? Face of the league doesn't score 16 points in a game last night. I'm sorry. He steps up and does something, takes more shots, takes more chances. He's not playing like a guy that you should believe that's the case.
I didn't even click on the clip. I just read the quotes because all I know is that Perkins was saying it with Stephen A. Smith sitting next to him. Like, what type of asinine conversation then transpires between the two of them?
That's the problem. And I think something went on during halftime yesterday. I saw a lot of tweets when we were live on the show about, what happened to NBA halftime shows talking about basketball, because they don't care. That's the ironic part about the NBA. Nobody actually cares if you want to talk about the NBA. They want all this stuff that's like all these weird rankings and conversations. If you talk about actual basketball, you could appreciate SGA. Instead, it turns into a conversation about Anthony Edwards.
Well, I think the problem with the NBA, and I would forgive people for not talking about the product at times, is we are consistently having 30-point blowouts either way. Last night was a great game. And last night we started the show talking about the game. But the problem is all these peripheral conversations rule because the sport has an identity issue. Forget the face of the league. First off, I don't even give a flying F who is the face. Like, I don't even understand what that means. That's why I don't understand why you're obsessed with it. I have no clue what it means to be the face of the NBA.
I didn't care about the whole thing until people brought his name up as being the face of the league, and it triggered me because when you say something so stupid and so wrong, it blows my mind. Now I'm obsessed with it.
Okay. Well, let's have an edict. Let's not say face of the NBA one more time over the next 2 hours and 20 minutes. Capiche? Can you do that? I'll eliminate face of the league. You're still allowed to talk about Karl Anthony Towns' accents, and you're still allowed to obsess over Tyrese Halliburton's dad.
Hey, Tyrese Halliburton, we're going over.
May I just say one thing? You just got pissed at people for not talking about the games, and your three obsessions are face of the league, accents, and Tyrese's dad.
Yeah, but also talked about SGA and his greatness, how Oklahoma City is going to win multiple titles. Now they're a suffocating defense. I did talk about all of that as well. But back on Halliburton.
Don't get zesty with me. I'm just saying.
Oh, my God. But also, more importantly, Tyrese Halliburton over 30.5 points and assists tonight. Dad's in the house. He's going crazy.
He's going to be on one. I mean, Halliburton was bad in the second half. What fascinates me about tonight is I'm not betting unders on these props. I don't care. All you sharps can suck it. I'm not betting unders on the props. I would assume Karl Anthony Towns is going to be a target of the Pacers tonight. By the way, I'll just say it. I'm laying it with the Pacers. Like the Pacers tonight.
Oh, no. I was going to ask you about this. We learned a hard lesson last night. We love the Thunder, but they didn't cover. And by the way, they're 0-7 against the spread on the road in the postseason right now. Why don't we just go money line with Indiana? Why don't we just take the money line?
What is it, $1.30-ish, $1.35?
It's probably a little bit more, $1.55 right now because the spread's up to 3.
Yeah, that's jumped up. All right, let's open up the phones. If you have predictions on the game tonight, the big guys Knicks, they need it. You're saying it's a must-win.
Yeah, but here's the problem with it as a Knicks fan. If I take who I think's going to win aside, real conversation. This is a genuine conversation. Are the Knicks good? Because outplayed by Detroit, won the series. Outplayed by Boston, just won a bunch of fourth quarters and dominated game 1 of this series, blew it, lost game 2, got smoked, and needed a miracle in game 3 to come back. So I don't even know what the Knicks are, and good would not be how I describe them.
I think they're good. I honestly do. I think the Knicks and the Pacers are two really good basketball teams. I've enjoyed this year. I've enjoyed.
Maybe not. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they are. Like, I don't know what their ceiling is, and they're so inconsistent, and I don't know what I'm getting from them. They're the more talented team in this series starting 5, but the better overall roster is Indiana.
They're in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're one of the Final 4. That would denote they're good.
Yeah, but the path getting here, we can agree it's been weird, right? I mean, it's a lot of weird results with these Knicks.
Yeah, no, absolutely, but they won them, and every time they would beat the teams, and they outplay. Well, what is it that Parcells would say? You
are what your record are.
You are what your record says you are, and they're one of the Final 4 standing with an opportunity to tie up the series today. I think they're good. Are they a great basketball team? Of course not. But I think they're really good. I think they're fun to watch.
They're fun because you don't know if they're going to melt down or they're going to melt someone else down.
Yeah. Let's get to the calls. 888-623-3646. I almost said it. Anthony Edwards, we could all agree, dispirited performance last night. You needed more. You have to get 20 attempts. And I would say 20 plus, and he had 13 attempts last night and seemed passive in a big spot. Didn't love that from him. We'll start in New York with Larry talking about Anthony Edwards. Hi, Larry.
Hey, how you doing? So let me just say this: I am a Knicks fan. I'm not an SGA fan. He's a great player. Edwards, great player. But I just want to say something. I was listening the whole time, and I hear your partner saying, "Oh, Edwards is not even in the same stratosphere." We got to slow down on that. The guy will be a super. He's 23, 24, as you mentioned. He's going to be a great, great player. SGA, there's only one player in the league in my book that is as good or maybe even a little better because he's won already, and that's the Joker. Okay, the Joker does amazing things. I still think he was the MVP. You got a 7-footer that averaged a triple-double, which is insane. And you take him off of Denver, they don't even make the playoffs. You take SGA off, they're a pretty good team. Now, SGA is great. He cannot be stopped. That mid-range, it's ridiculous what he does on the court. But Edwards will be a star. And I know you don't want to say this, this whole face. The only way you're the face of the NBA is if you are dominating the NBA and winning championships. You become the face of the NBA. I don't know what Perkins wants to be Barkley, I think. I don't know what he's talking about. I don't even know. I don't know who's married, who has kids half the time until later in their careers anyway. You know what I mean? But I just want to give, I watched that. I've been watching every game, and this is the last thing I'll say. I know you got other calls, but Edwards was, if you watch that game, man, he was getting, as soon as he got the ball, like half the team he was getting triple teamed. He was like having a hard time even getting the ball to somebody else. I think that's why he had minimum amount of shots. And you guys have said it already, and your partner, he said it already. They blanket people. Their defense is ridiculous. So they got to figure out how to get him open. I don't know.
No, Larry, you said it. You said it's like LeBron became likable when he won. You become the face of the league when you start winning championships. Like, you can say Steph, you can say Joker, because that they've won. And again, the marital situation has nothing to do with it. We all agree Edwards is a great player. You're not going to average 29 points a game without being a great player, and has an opportunity to be a Hall of Famer. He's 23 years old. So we're not dogging him there. And he is right about one thing. He gets beat up. And nobody's a better defensive team than Oklahoma City. So he's got to pack a full lunch if he's going to take on this team. You just need him to get more attempts at the bucket and not settle for threes, because he is a miraculous athlete.
I get it, and I know the expectations were different, but you mentioned the name LeBron. LeBron, to me, is still the face of the league. Whether we want to, like, he's not at his peak powers, he's still the face of the league. We were not allowed to make excuses for LeBron on the way up. LeBron was criticized every time he had shortcomings, every time he didn't step up and carry the team. There was a lot of criticism of LeBron, so if we're going to have that energy for a guy who became the face of the league and a guy now that we think is capable of becoming the next face, we have to be consistent with how we judge them. I'm sorry.
Who do you love more, your girlfriend or the concept of face of the league?
That's a tough one.
So see, what I set you up with an opportunity not to get in trouble, because you know she's listening. Do me a favor and just say your freaking girlfriend.
My girlfriend. Definitely my girlfriend.
Yeah,
definitely my girlfriend. Yeah, shtick. I'm doing shtick.
Yeah, so everybody knows. We want to clarify.
Specifically my girlfriend that she knows.
Yeah, Bill in Chevy Chase. Hi, Bill.
Hey, guys. Yeah, this whole face of the league discussion, it just seems so contrived and so forced that suddenly everybody's decided there has to be a face of the league, and it has to be, like, designated. I don't remember anybody ever talking about LeBron James. He is, in other words, anointing him face of the league. It's something that evolved over time. And I don't think there has to be a face of the league at any given time. If it happens, it will happen organically. And I will say this about Edwards, to compare him, the comparisons with Jordan. Michael Jordan in a game like last night would have shot 0 for 50 before he would have backed off, and stopped the way Anthony Edwards did. He wouldn't have cared. He'd say, give me the ball. I don't care if I miss every shot, because if I do, that means nobody else could make them either. I'm the guy. And Edwards did not do that. And he is young. But that's what I think of face of the league. And I just, like I said, I think it's kind of contrived. Let me ask you guys this, and hopefully heads won't explode when I said this. Let me say this. To the extent there is a certain amount of league support, organizational support behind sort of hopefully subtly pushing somebody to become face of the league, I just have a feeling, and maybe it's the right thing, Adam Silver would never let that be anything but a black American player. Do you disagree with that?
I think American.
I think American for sure, and that's why I don't ever think you're going to see SGA spoken of the same way as an Anthony Edwards. I don't know that answer, honestly. I don't know. It sucks. It sucks that that race always pops into something, but I'm not naive enough to know that there isn't an element of it always just poking its nasty head out. So
yeah, but what I would say is when I made my list here, on a very extensive list that I did during the commercial break, it's LeBron, it's Steph, it's Jokic, it's Giannis, it's Luka, it's SGA. That's my top 6, ahead of Edwards in the conversation of who's the face of the NBA, and we have 3 Europeans in it. 3. That's the problem, is people want to make it an American. That's what I think it is.
Yeah, we've had dominance. We had Giannis dominating. We had Jokic dominating. We have Luka dominating.
I believe it's 7 straight MVPs are non-American now. I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But you're probably right, though. I mean, Jokic, Embiid.
Well, he plays for Team USA, but he's not. He was from Cameroon.
Yeah, something like that.
SGA, right. Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, and they've won since 2019.
Yeah. Foreigners, up and down, America. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-36-4. I believe after I said an edict on FOL, I'm not going to say it. Dustin said it 73 more times. This must be a discussion that is blowing up social media.
No, it's one of those deals where people that I don't like have said one thing, so now I have to take the other side.
Okay, when we come back, Dustin's going to reveal who he doesn't like. And let's get predictions. 888-623-3646. 15 minutes until tip. Indiana hosting the Knicks. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
After the Knicks and Pacers wrap up Game 4 tonight in Indy, stay locked into SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86 for the postgame show. Get a full recap of the matchup, expert analysis, and all the biggest highlights only on SiriusXM NBA Radio Channel 86 in the car and on the SiriusXM app. As we welcome you back here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. We're minutes away from tip in Indy Game 4 with the Pacers laying 3. And the Knicks, of course, looking to even up that series. So we'll get some predictions in. Were you ready to divulge people that you hate that we're talking about the face?
You know, I can't do that because the people that I hate are people that think to their face that I'm their friend. So I can't give you specifics. And then I also need them to come on shows later because it's occasionally I do book them for this show or when I do my weekend shows on VSiN, and I need them to think that I'm friends with them. So no, I cannot tell you who they are because it would mess up a lot of things for me.
Oh, you mean like yesterday when you pretended to like Mike Florio?
Yeah, I don't like Mike Florio. I also don't dislike Mike Florio. I just know Mike Florio said yes when I'd ask him to come on shows, and bosses would go, "Hey, you got Mike Florio. That's a good get." And I'd be like, "I guess so."
I hear you, brother. I hear you. Let's get the picks in. I think the Pacers bounce back in a big way. I think that second half was an anomaly. The Knicks, who dominated, still just barely held on, and they did dominate. Again, the key to Game 3 was a 20-point lead in the second, got cut down to 13. They went into halftime with momentum, came out of halftime with said momentum, and I think the Pacers bounce back in a big way and cover that number tonight.
Yeah, Pacers definitely winning tonight. They went 5 of 25 from 3 at home. Teams with their capabilities don't do that 2 games in a row. This is a team that's shown us that they have the mettle, that they're killers. And they come out very quickly. Pacers first half. Pacers on the game. I'd go money line, unfortunately. Minus 155 last night. Got a little dicey. On the other side, I also would say from a prop perspective, I love Siakam over points. I think Siakam's like 9-1 to lead the game in scoring. He is the version of Karl Anthony Towns being a mismatch for the Pacers. If they get him the ball, he can find ways to get buckets creatively. He's someone I'm targeting. I think Halliburton has a big day. And I also think Brunson bounces back. When everyone's kind of doubting him and the narrative is maybe he's doing too much and they need to look to other people, I think Brunson steps up and shows why he's the captain of the team.
They just showed, and I know this bothers you, don't love it, but I will say I don't have a problem with it because Chalamet and Timothy Chalamet and Ben Stiller are sitting courtside in Indy. Like, at least that's putting your money where your mouth is to travel to Indianapolis to support the Knicks. Like, I think that's pretty cool.
I don't dislike either of those guys. No. It's all it just, I don't love that my team's viewed as, it's the celebrity team. But Ben Stiller's at almost every home game.
He is. I did see the Bob Dylan. You know what? I'll come back with a review. And we'll set up the hockey number as well. VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports, and a big announcement from the big guy you're not going to want to miss.
I guess.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson hanging out at the Sirius XM studios at the Wynn. It's a good look for the big guy. It's a great job, John Goulet and his crew there. We appreciate all the effort getting that picture. That shot is great. You can see the shot on YouTube, youtube.com/VSiN Live. Give us a sub. I'm Patrick Meagher, as we do welcome you back. We are yet to get underway in basketball with the Knicks and Pacers, which should be coming up any minute here, hopefully. And also yet to get underway, Stars Oilers. Let's focus on that. By the way, you can check out the newsletter, which sets up your betting menu for the day. No obligation, completely free. Go to vsin.com/newsletter. Bill does a great job with that. You get some free picks in there as well. If you don't want to commit to anything, that's a great place to start. All right, so the hockey and the Star League, these are two very good teams. Now, the Panthers, that was a shocker last night. 3-0, shutout
killed me.
For the Hurricanes. It's almost like watching the game, it was almost like the Panthers were like, we're bored. That
let's
was the
give them
vibe
one.
I got. They were bored, and they got blanked 3-0.
Yeah, they treated it like a practice. It was an open skate. It just counted. But they were like, we'll go through this, and we'll give them a real effort in the next one.
Yep. So tonight, Edmonton does lead 2-1. Edmonton's getting more. Like, Draisaitl didn't even have a shot on goal in Game 3, and they won 6-1, which is dangerous for the Final Four remaining in hockey, whoever it will be, in Lord Stanley's finals here, because Edmonton is a wagon right now. Of course, it could be a rematch, most likely going to be a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup final with Edmonton losing to Florida. I think it's going to be much more competitive because Edmonton, just the lines get deeper and deeper this year, and Skinner all of a sudden is playing like Dominik Hasek in goal. And tonight, Edmonton's a $1.50 favorite, up 2-1 in the series. The total, maybe you can find a 6, but mostly 6.5s out there.
Yeah, and the big problem is in net for Dallas. Ottinger's leaky. They've been outscored 9-1 the last two games, and Skinner's been playing great for the Oilers. This game's in Edmonton. I think you can only look at the Oilers in this spot. Minus 142, sure. I maybe wouldn't lay the puck and a half like I did yesterday. That got me with Florida. But I think Edmonton's on a different level. They just have too many different guys who can get it done. They play very smart hockey. They had 2 guys with 3 assists last game. So clearly they're just overwhelming to me. And while Dallas is good, when your goalie's not helping you out and the other team has so much firepower on offense, I got to look at Edmonton.
And we adjust back to Oklahoma City tomorrow night for Game 5, where Oklahoma City will look to close out Minnesota. Just set you up on that number as they lead 3-1. It was a great game last night. Really enjoyed the game last night. 2-point win for Oklahoma City. The number is 8.5 in Oklahoma City. So obviously a big adjustment as Oklahoma City goes home. Minnesota down 3-1 in the series. 8.5 on the number.
I think I'd actually look at Minnesota because I think this is a spot where a guy like Julius Randle puts up those empty calories where he's known to do with the series pretty much over. And Minnesota could take one here, but they still won't come back and win the whole thing. You know, I think the Thunder, because they do have a little bit of wiggle room, I think they win, but I still think it'll be a close game because Minnesota's played them tough every step of the way for the most part.
So they're just about to get underway, and they did just show Ben Stiller and Chamelet courtside, sitting on the wood, got good seats. I don't know how they managed that, but they're on the wood there as the Knicks and Pacers about to get underway. I will say this, I'm generally late to the party, so I know Dog literally went to the debut in London of A Complete Unknown with Chamelet. I watched it on Sunday. I'm not usually into modern movies. You know, why would you be when you got a Cary Grant movie over here or a Humphrey Bogart movie over here or a Katharine Hepburn movie over here? However, I did watch A Complete Unknown. Tremendous movie. I really enjoyed it. Chamelet was, Chamelet was tremendous as Dylan. You know, I think it's a hard movie to make because Dylan is so, how do you say, he's just an enigma. And so it's not like it's a big personality. It's an odd personality to capture on film. But I thought they did a good job. And I thought Chamelet, who obviously studied the hell out of Dylan, did a really tremendous job playing him. He's a very talented kid. Liked the movie. Did you see it?
No, so I actually like Bob Dylan's music. I think "Blowing in the Wind" is like the single most brilliant lyrics in like American music history. I genuinely, I'm not doing shtick. I genuinely believe it is pure brilliance, that entire song. Okay. And I actually used to listen to Bob Dylan a lot growing up. I was way into it. But to your point about playing him, he's not a character in the sense where I feel like he offers opportunities to like showcase in like a 90-minute film format. Like, I think he's an interesting, eccentric guy, but he's not like an over-the-top personality. Like when you think of Val Kilmer playing Jim Morrison in The Doors, like that's a borderline psycho. You understand how he can carry a whole movie. I can't imagine Bob Dylan carrying a whole movie.
Yeah, no, that's why I thought they did a really clever job with it. Enjoyed it, was entertained the whole entire way. Don't even know how long it was. Didn't feel overly long. A complete unknown. 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed it. So there you have it, and it's a 2-2 start with the Knicks and Pacers. We'll keep you updated on that in-game number as we move along here on the program. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. Waiting for the hockey game to get underway, and we'll keep you updated with that in-game number as well. You sent me some links to some SEC and some college football drama, which we can put off for a little bit. We will discuss that. We are 100 days out from the NFL. I think the big story in the NFL, obviously, right now is when Rodgers will commit to the Steelers. And
real quick.
Yeah.
I meant to tell you this off the air, but we can do it on the air. So you can't stand Aaron Rodgers thinking he's smarter than everyone about every subject to ever exist on the planet. Like you've been in that camp way ahead of schedule, like way ahead of everyone else. I tried my best to listen to him on the Joe Rogan podcast this weekend. Whoa, he went on again.
Why?
I made it about 12 and a half minutes. He's impossible. He's insufferable. He thinks he's smarter than everyone on every subject. I can't imagine a football team actually wants to add him to the roster. I genuinely think you can't do that. He is so off his rocker.
I think right now, I don't understand the Steelers. I'd prefer Cousins. I would. I'm not even. I don't even know if there's really football-wise. Maybe I'm off on this. I don't know if there's football-wise a huge difference at this point between Rodgers and Cousins. Cousins is much younger. Cousins obviously was dealing with injuries last. If he completely checks out medically, I think I'd prefer Cousins, and you don't have to deal with the drama that inevitably comes with Rodgers. It will happen, people. When people show you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, and if someone's going to tell you Aaron Rodgers wasn't that bad last year, and they're going to cite all these stats about his passing game and the numbers and the completions and whatnot, they didn't watch him play. And by the way, I wouldn't fault them. The Jets were horrible last year. Why would you watch them play? All of those stats were put up by a quarterback whose team was losing by 2 touchdowns in the second half of every game. So he's throwing from behind, and that's why the numbers look good. He looked slow. The ball didn't fly out of his hands like we're used to seeing. You think you're buying Aaron Rodgers, but he's not. It's like a knockoff brand version. It just has the name on the back of the jersey. None of the talent is still there from earlier.
Now, I did tease this, and trust me, the big guy's going to get mad at me, but don't worry, you can back out. It's not a big deal. But I said death, taxes, and the big guy. All right? So I can't remember now how long ago it was, but everybody's favorite, Michael in the OC, called not too long ago and started a campaign that they were having a Mad Dog Sports Radio get-together in Hermosa Beach, California at Hennessy's. Now, I happen to live in Hermosa Beach, California, and just steps away from Hennessy's. I don't know how they ended up choosing that joint, but they did. So Mike calls. It says Babchick's flying in. Cody and Decker are going to be there. Like, he literally was just like, and we've got a ton of Mad Dog Sports Radio fans that are all in on the Mad Dog Sports Radio get-together. You think about it like, for longtime listeners of the network, like a Falcon, which Evan and Babs did an amazing job of getting together a community of, and it's really a wonderful community, the Mad Dog Sports Radio audience since 2007. So think about that. We're closing in on 20 years of Dog here on the broadcast. So really just, to me, such a unique station, a unique audience, and it's tremendous. So Mike, who is polarizing, he calls, and Dustin can't stand him.
Polarizing would mean there's people on his side other than you, but go ahead.
I think people like him, but mostly you're right. Most people are on your side. But what happened was when Mike called in and brought it up, Dustin did the cool guy thing. And he's like, I can't. I got plans. Going to San Diego. And when I heard that, I was like, good for freaking you. You are being yourself. You are spending time with your girlfriend. You're going to go to Petco. You're going to enjoy San Diego. It's just a beautiful city. Loved it. But death, taxes, and the big guy ending up at Hennessy's was the same thing. Today, it was revealed to me. And this is for the Mad Dog Sports Radio listeners and Cody and Decker and the rest of the crew that may be there at Hennessy's coming up on Saturday. And he's fun. Let me just be very clear. He's going to be there, and he is the life of the party. Like, the big guy is an incredible person to hang out with. But when he was pretending that he wasn't going to be going to a get-together where people are there to just say, hey, you're the big guy, I remember thinking to myself, I can't believe he's lying to us right now. And today he mentioned to me, I might show up at Hennessy's on Saturday, which means I'll be at Hennessy's with bells on Saturday. Let's freaking go, big guy. And here's another good part about that. You're always my savior. You'll represent the show. I'm free.
There is a small chance I end up at this get-together. My preference would be to be in San Diego. There could be things that pop up that keep me from the trip and delaying it, but I do have a hotel book. I do have tickets booked to the baseball game already, so I'd have to sell those. There's a lot up in the air, but there is a small chance I do end up at this thing. I prefer to be in San Diego. If this was another weekend, I would have made sure I was 100% there, though.
Yep. Nope. He'll be there. All I can tell you, you can listen to whatever he just said. My man will be posted up. And by the way, I know he gets bitter at me for saying this, Ren, and you can back out. It doesn't matter. So don't get pissed at me. What he gets bitter about is me knowing him, which doesn't make any sense because it's just like, that's just friendship. Like, I know the big guy. I know his plans the whole entire time. He was going to be he'll be the first person it'll be Mike in the OC and Dustin at Hennessy's waiting for people. And that is a big 180 from, I can't do it, guys. Sorry. I'm not going to be there. That was playing hard to get. You were playing hard to get.
I had plans. I still have plans. But there's other things that could happen that could cancel those plans, unfortunately. But they're I'd say 70% chance I'm in San Diego. 70%.
So 30% chance you're Hennessy's and 70% chance you're
let's go 85% chance I'm in San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And look, by the way, when you say Dustin will be the first one there and him and Mike will be waiting for everyone to come, are you sure there's more people coming than me and Mike then? Because I am not convinced. I am not convinced there is anyone other than Mike showing up to this thing, and it was all ploy to hang out with you.
I think that this was a manifest situation. I think Mike is trying to speak something into existence, and by calling the program and saying a lot of people are going, and then when we pinned him down to who, and he gave 2 names, and then he said Cody and Decker. Let me explain something about. Sorry, I always get their name wrong. Beetle and Cody. Let me explain something. I don't even know, and they do a great show on Mad Dog Sports Radio, so you should all listen to it. A lot of energy. I don't know where Cody and Michelle live, but people have to understand Los Angeles is a huge place, and it's very hard to get to certain areas. The concept of getting to the South Bay on a Saturday to go hang out at Hennessy's boggles my mind.
Cody
How
lives
are
in
they
New
going to be
York.
there?
Cody lives in New York. Michelle lives in San Antonio. I think they're taking Mike for a ride here by saying that they're going to be there. I am not buying that. By the way, if there was a situation where I do somehow end up and I'm representing the show and you're not there, we're kind of playing out what I wanted to do on Raya back in the day, was sign up on a Raya account under your name with your picture, and then I just pop out on the date and be like, well, you're stuck with me.
Well, no, but what you have to understand, when you told me that earlier, I literally thought, this guy's always got my freaking back. Because if half of the show shows up, I'm scot-free. And let me just explain something, and we'll move on to sports. Let me explain something. Do I have social issues? Yes. Am I being rude by not showing up at Hennessy's? I don't know if it's rude. I don't know what it is. But I just have different interests. Before the show, you know what I was doing? Reading Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. It's a tremendous book. I'm trying to say I'm weird. And so a Saturday at 47 is a lot to give up, big guy. That's all I'm saying.
47, kind of midlife crisis years, no offense. So you got to think about half your life is potentially passed you by. Are you willing to spend the remaining of that shorter half of your life that's left on the other side wasting one of how many weekends? You get 52 weekends a year over the course of the next 35, 40 years, let's say 45 years of your life. Hopefully. I mean, it's not that many weekends. You're going to waste a big chunk of one hanging out with Mike at a bar right down the road from your house when there's anything else on earth you could be doing. I just want to say, and I know you're going to take it as sarcastic, you always have my back.
Stop. And you and the concept of people that are going to celebrate you for like the concept of you not showing up to catch that adulation was never on the table. Never. You know what? You took your clothes off at Falcon. Okay, can we not remind everyone of this? I mean, I left my underwear on. I wasn't completely naked because we were in a public place. I do regret it. It wasn't the smartest decision. In the moment, it did feel right because I was about 8 beers deep, thanks to Alan White Plains just handing me beers every time I turned around. But I digress. I have grown. I no longer need that adulation because I get it from my girlfriend, if I'm being honest. That's all it is. I just get it from one person, and that's good enough for me. I hear you, brother. Enjoy it. I think you're going to have a great time. I'm not going. Now you're going to do this to spite me? You're not going to show. I already told you. I was very likely. I have a baseball game I have to go to. I have a hotel that's booked, and more importantly, I got a freaking zoo that I cannot wait to discover. Okay. Well, then maybe I was mistaken. Honestly, I would rather, if I'm being fair, I would rather hang out in the gorilla cage and try and fight that gorilla than have a conversation with Mike and the OC in person. Okay, well then, pardon me. I was mistaken from our conversation earlier. And so, no, there is a chance if I don't end up going to San Diego, I will go. Okay. Those of you planning on the Mad Dog Sports Radio get-together on Saturday, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, the funnest guy is not me. It is the big guy, and he will be there. Don't do that. Don't build it up. It's right on the ocean. You're going to enjoy the hell out of it. Hit me up after. This is like people building up the Anthony Edwards conversation. It's unfair to build up the expectation that I'm going to be the most fun at the party. It's just like it's unfair to build up that Anthony Edwards is going to be that thing that we're not allowed to talk about anymore on the show. Brunson just hit a 3 to tie it up at 21. That's a big 3. 6 minutes to play. 7 points in 6 minutes for Brunson. So maybe you were on to something with Brunson having a big game here. We are tied at 21. Halliburton is playing well to start. There's a lot of juice in this game. There's 4 Halliburton with a bucket, 23-21 with 6 minutes to play. There's going to be 200. There's going to be 300 points scored in this game. This has Game 7 vibes to me. I know it's Game 4. The energy feels like the importance of this game swinging the series because all of a sudden the Knicks could Brunson with a 3. That's what I'm saying. This is ridiculous. They are trading shots. Samic, who loves to bet unders because he's a Sharpie. He probably bet the under, and I'm telling you, we're going to have 200 points by the time the first quarter wraps up. So go ahead and bet on the horses, Samic, and leave the totals to your boy. All right. The Knicks and Pacers right now are the Showtime Lakers. It is incredible. The scoring is off the charts. The big guy. The only thing now that he's trying to figure out is what he's going to wear to Hennessy's. Because he'll have his Jordans on. Yes. He'll have a jersey on. Yes. And he'll be in a great mood. Now, who comes with him is the big question. Oh, that is a debate for another day. Look, I read the book in school. I don't remember all of the details. The most dangerous game, that would be the most dangerous game I could play. I'm not getting involved. If somebody that I know, who I think is tremendous, comes, It's even a better party. But who knows?
I mean this with all sincerity. If I did go and I walked into that party and there were more than 3 people sitting at the table with Mike and the OC, I would be floored. I'm taking under 3.5 people at that table with Mike.
Well, just text me on Saturday and let me know how it is.
I will.
Now, we did get an alert earlier today that part of the family, Mike Samich, wasn't going to join until 5:30. But I spy a Mike Samich down in the left corner of my screen, so that means he's early. So let's do this. Let's break and come back with Samo bomb as the Pacers just hit another 3. It is 27-24 with 4:44 to play. Have we ever seen scoring like this? That is the question. What are you laughing about? It's true.
That was a genuine question.
The total close 219. We're going to cover it at halftime.
Your in-game total is 238.5.
Correct. So a bit of an adjustment. Kind of like the plans for this weekend.
Oh,
the big guy. We'll fill Samo in. I love you, brother. It's just that when you told me I might show up at Henny, I said, "Oh God, thank God," because I know it. The big guy's always got my back. That leaves me clear and free, guilt-free to spend my nice little Saturday in Hermosa Beach solo. Big guy.
So I'd be 1 block from you and you wouldn't come hang out with me?
I literally said text me after. You might not get a response, but text me after. I might be in Santa Barbara. You never know. I might be at Topgolf with the guy that's going to join us next. You never know. I might be running around with Jeezy and Lily. You never freaking know. When we return, Mike Samich joins, and we'll get you an update on this in-game number with the Knicks and the big guys, Pacers. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
An absolutely torrid pace with the Knicks and Pacers. We'll get to that in just a second. Got a timeout challenge on a Brunson and one, 31-29. The Pacers do lead. As we welcome you back here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Hennessy is in the house. I'm Patrick Meagher. As we welcome in part of the family, VSiN host, professional bettor Mike Somich. Ready, Set, Bet, weekends 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. SomoBomb18 on Twitter. More importantly, he's got VSiN at the Track, the road to the Belmont Stakes, coming up Friday, which is 11:15 my time on the West, 2:15 Eastern Time, and then repurposed on VSiN proper 8 a.m. on Saturdays. Mike Somich, how are you?
I'm doing good, boys. I'm doing good. Appreciate you letting me jump on here a few minutes late. Had a little daddy-daughter time that I had to get in, and now ready to talk some sports.
By the way, road to the Belmont Stakes, available on our VSiN Live YouTube on Fridays. I want to make sure. So let's start with this crazy torrid pace that I talked about. We've got 61 points with 3:35 to play in the first. What did you do with Knicks Pacers today?
We got 64 now, Patrick, as the Pacers hit another three-pointer. I have Pacers team total over. I find these playoff games to be very difficult to bet from a game-by-game perspective, specifically on the side. I like betting the series. I like trying to build a portfolio around the championship odds as well. We talked about that last week. Have some Pacers plus 145 in the series, and then some OKC to win the title minus 145. But in these game-by-game scenarios, I like taking some shots at team totals. I think it's difficult to necessarily handicap, especially in this Knicks-Pacers series, which team actually has the edge as you go back and forth in these games. But I do think you can go after team totals. And one of the things that jumped out at me from the game 3 was how the Pacers wanted to push the ball more. I thought we'd see a little bit more up-tempo of a game, and that is exactly what we are getting here with the Pacers up 37-30 with 2:19 left in the first.
And Mikal Bridges just missed a layup. I don't even know what happened on that one. Just off the back of the rim. And Siakam answers with a 3. So all of a sudden, Pacers up 7. And Mike, when we started the show today, I was telling Patrick, I don't know how to make sense of my Knicks. Like, I really don't know how to feel about them. Obviously, season's a success. Like, we'll start there. But Detroit series pretty much outplayed that entire series, for being fair. Outplayed basically every game against Boston, but just won the fourth quarters. And then this series had a chance to make a statement in game 1. They could just as easily be up 2-1 or down 0-3. I just don't know how to make sense of them. If you were me right now, how would you feel about their situation?
Well, I mean, I think this every game in this Pacers-Knicks series feels like a coin flip to me. It's going to come down to, who shoots better on that specific day, what type of performance you get from some of these role players. And if I'm the Knicks, I just want it to be close in the fourth quarter, which is ironic, because they had that opportunity in both game 1 and game 2 and weren't able to get it done. But this is a team that has thrived in crunch time. And so for the Knicks, the goal really is, hey, don't be down 15 points to start the third quarter. Try and find ways to just keep the game close and then trust that you are going to basically outclutch the team that you are playing, because that's what they did through those first 2 series. You talk about Detroit, you talk about Boston. You can argue they weren't the better team for the first 3 quarters in the majority of those games, but you get into the fourth quarter, this team just has playmakers, and they put themselves in that situation. I'd also say, look, 1 through 5, this is a very good Knicks team. The problem is when you get to 6 and 7 and 8, that's where the struggles really start to happen. And this Pacers team, they can go 10 deep if they need to. And so for the Knicks, it's when those starting 5 are on, when their best 5 are on, that's when they can control the game. They can't just play them all the time. Tibbs would love to. He tries to, but you can't. So you have to have those moments where they're not in there. And their goal really just keep it close until the fourth quarter and give those 5 players the opportunity to steal the game for you.
By the way, you can go read Mike Somich over at VSiN.com. He's got a great article on betting the Rockies, and we'll get into that coming up in just a bit. By the way, Halliburton in the first has 15, 6, and 4. And there's still a couple minutes to play. So Halliburton and Brunson are battling right now. Brunson's got 13. Halliburton's got 15. He's got 6 assists and 5 rebounds in the first quarter. That's nuts, as Brunson does miss a 3. And here comes the Pacers the other way. Siakam is going to convert for a layup, so it's 39-32. The Pacers do lead. We'll get you caught up on that in-game number in just a bit. the hockey game, we should go there and talk about what you did prior. I know the game's already started. 10 minutes in, it's 0-0 with the Stars and Oilers.
Yeah, I played some under in the game and under in the first period. So this is one of those where I didn't think that when you go back and you watch game 2 and what Edmonton was able to do from a defensive structure, they were really able to slow the Dallas Stars down. And Dallas has the ability to play a defensive style of hockey and would probably prefer to do that against this Oilers team versus going up and down the ice. I played the under in game 3. Was wildly frustrated. That's another one where the first period under hit easily in game 3, and then we just saw a blowout by Edmonton, and they got all these late goals. That pushed that total over. So I played the first period under here, and then I played under 6.5 as well. I would assume the in-game total, if I look it up right now, should be sitting at 5.5. It's pretty heavily juiced the under, though, minus 154. Yeah. I'd probably wait and see if that total goes down a little bit, or even if you're sitting at, you find a 4.5 that's at plus money right when they flip it over from 5.5 to 4.5. If there are no goals scored here, I do think this is more of a defensive struggle style of series because of the structure that Edmonton is playing right now, and I don't see them putting up 6 like they did in Game 4. If I was going to take a side, pre-flop, it would have been Dallas. I think that the Edmonton price has gotten a little out of hand. We saw them as high as minus 170, minus 180 for game 3. We're seeing similar prices in game 4. And while I do agree that Edmonton should be favored, the number just seems a little bit high a little heavy for a must-win game here for the Stars so they don't go home down 3-1.
Yeah, Mike, maybe a bit of an overreaction just because the Oilers have been scoring so much the last couple games. Ottinger maybe in a get-right spot. But I want to talk to you about Skinner because I feel like the conversation a year ago with Skinner and net for the Oilers was a whole lot of these. You don't know what you're going to get out of him. Don't know if he's really a starter on a contending team. But he's been awesome during this series. What have you thought about the way he's played in net?
The key there is during this series, right? Dustin, I mean, Stuart Skinner got pulled in round 1. He got taken out after being chased by the Kings in game 2. And so the Edmonton down 0-2, they go to Calvin Pickard, their backup goalie who plays very well for them, and then gets hurt. There's a world where Skinner doesn't see the ice again in these playoffs. Had Pickard not got injured, he gets reinserted, and he's been phenomenal, especially the last 2 games. I thought he played awesome in game 2 in Dallas. I thought he played very well in game 3 there in Edmonton, and so far so good here. 9:52 left in the first period, 0-0 game. Hasn't let one by. I mean, look, he's not this good, so there is some regression that is due. If you ask pretty much anyone in the NHL who you'd rather have in net, Skinner or Ottinger, everyone's taken Ottinger. But over the last 2 games, Skinner's outplayed him. That's the beauty of playoff hockey. You have these moments where someone just steps up. And right now, that is Stuart Skinner for this Oilers team. And he is playoff tested, right? I mean, was able to get through this process last year, played well in the Stanley Cup Finals, even though they ended up losing in 7 there. So, look, at this point, I am done doubting this Oilers team because it cost me money in round 1. It cost me money in round 2. I've got a Stars to win the West ticket that I don't love right now because of what's happening here, but Edmonton has been getting timely depth scoring. Knobloch behind the bench, I think, deserves a ton of credit. Completely changed up their defensive structure from game 1 to game 2. That's why we saw the Oilers really be able to limit quality chances and help Stuart Skinner out a lot more. And they've been able to continue that in game 3 and now into game 4.
Didn't expect Florida to literally just be bored and take a game off last night, but they certainly did. That was a bored hockey team.
It wasn't their best effort. The funny part, it was 1-0. And then, you pull the goalie, he gets 2 empty netters, ends up 3-0. They had a chance to win it and played their worst game that they have played in the playoffs so far, which kind of tells you the talent gap between Florida and Carolina. I hate it when teams play with their food, though, because now we're in a situation where if they lose game 5 in Carolina, which, look, that could definitely happen, going to be a coin flip style game and you're playing on the road, then you go back home game 6, and all of a sudden all the pressure is on Florida to get it done there, so you don't go back to Carolina for a game 7. So, look, I still think Florida wins the series. I think they are the best team that's left in this tournament, but we'll see if they're able to just get it done, take care of business. I will tell you this. I haven't looked at the price yet tomorrow on that game, Patrick. If I'm catching plus money on Florida, I'm probably playing it. Looks like it's minus 125 right now for Florida. If I was going to play it, I just lay the goal and a half. If this Florida team comes out and they decide that they want to play the A game, I do think they're able to take care of Carolina tomorrow, and you can lay the goal and a half there and catch plus 205.
Yep.
Of Dallas and Edmonton, who do you think gives Florida a tougher matchup in the final?
You got to say Dallas, just because of the overall depth that they have on their team. Like, this Edmonton team isn't deep from a goal scoring perspective. They really have one very good line. If they split up Draisaitl and McDavid, they can have 2 very good lines. but the goalie is a question mark, the defense a little bit of a question mark, the depth scoring is a question mark. All of those things make it really tough against a Florida team that has a good goaltender, has defensive depth, can rotate through 4 lines, has secondary and tertiary scoring. And Dallas offers more of that similar style. They are able to score from all up and down their lineup. They've got a top tier level goaltender. So I think Dallas makes it a tougher series. But again, as Edmonton goes up 1-0 on a Leon Draisaitl goal here with about 8-9 minutes left in the first period, I just got to stop doubting this Edmonton team, because every time I think that their backs are against the wall, they respond and they play the way they have the last 2 games, which were dominant wins for them against the Dallas squad that I would argue on paper is the better team.
43-35 after the first, so slowed down a little bit as far as the scoring as the last few minutes of the first closed out with the Knicks and Pacers, but certainly a high-scoring affair here. 43-35, the Pacers lead. If anything, Edmonton on the board first against Dallas, 7:41 to play. Edmonton does lead 1-0. Draisaitl with the power play goal there, Mike.
Yeah, look. It's that power play is so deadly when they can put their top tier weapons with space on the ice, and you've got McDavid and you've got Draisaitl just setting up shop on his strong side where he can just pop it right into the net on one-timers. They are the most dangerous power play in the NHL, and that's one thing that they've been able to live on during these playoffs, both last year and this year, is that if they get the man up, they're going to convert on it. Something that Florida actually took away from them in the Stanley Cup final to go up 3-0. It's one of the main reasons Florida was so good against Edmonton last year. They stayed out of the box, which is surprising for a team that is pretty heavily penalized in the Panthers. Live line now sitting at Oilers minus 298, which is awfully high. Total under 5.5 plus 105. I mean, I would lean toward the under at plus 105. I'd lean toward the Stars at plus 220. You got to expect you're going to get a response from Dallas in this game, and I would expect you're going to see it rather soon.
All right, that's Western Conference NHL. What about the Western Conference NBA last night? What did you think of Oklahoma City? They don't cover the number. They win on the road. And I feel like we're going to look back on this series and we're going to forget a lot of details, Mike. Like, we're going to go, man, Oklahoma City just cruise past the Timberwolves, but I think Minnesota is actually a good team. They're just not in the same class as the Thunder right now. What have been your thoughts of how Oklahoma City has played so far?
I think they've actually been pretty good. Like, all things considered, they came out, they looked very good at home, got the first 2 wins. They absolutely no-showed in game 3, but a lot of that was because of what Minnesota was able to do just from an energy perspective. They won the race to every loose ball. They dominated on the glass. Look, last night, OKC had no business winning. Like, with the way that their star players played, with what we saw from the role players that we got on the Timberwolves side, it should have been a 2-2 series. When you have the role players shoot so well for Minnesota, you got to win that game at home. Now, Anthony Edwards did not play well, right? And that was a big issue for them. And the way that OKC defended him, I thought, was very creative to be able to kind of help get the job done there. But this OKC team, they still feel like a truck, man. Like, and I feel like they're getting they're not getting enough credit as they should, because this is just a very deep team that can win games. So I've been impressed with OKC. To be honest, I've been impressed with Minnesota. I thought they'd roll over after the 0-2 start. I do think OKC moves on, obviously up 3-1. They're massive favorites in the series. They're massive favorites to win the chip too. I think that whoever comes out of the East is in a world of hurt when it gets to the finals against OKC.
I agree. Let's get an update on the in-game number. 47-38 is what I have in front of me. 10-13 to play. Dustin, what's that in-game number right now?
Yeah, Cat just hit a 3. 47-40 is your score. Indy's laying 6.5. That totals 242.5. So dropped considerably. 219 we closed at. It was 224 last game. In game now 242.5.
All right, there it is. An adjustment on that total, which closed 219-ish. Samich is just holding on for this first period to end 1-0 in Edmonton. Dude, hold on. I got a big wood desk that I'm sitting at, so I'm going to knock on it, my friend. Let's do this. Let's break really quickly. We'll come back and talk about betting the Rockies. We kind of did all right, Memorial Day. We're 2 months into the baseball season yesterday. And, some of the themes, the Orioles are terrible. The Tigers are the best team in baseball. But the Rockies are all-time bad. So if you're looking to bet them, what should you do? We'll get into that with Mike Samich here, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. You can check out Mike Somich, professional bettor, VSiN host, over at vsin.com with the articles. You can become a pro for $19, vsin.com/subscribe, using the promo code SIRIUS. Here's a breakaway for Dallas that is stoned. Just a Skinner wall. 3:10 to play in the first. Edmonton 1-0. Lily Somich over there holding on for Dad as we're trying to stay under a goal and a half here in the first. Let's go, Samo.
Hey, I like it. All the breakaways. Although a Dallas goal wouldn't have been the worst thing, because I do have some Dallas stuff here. But we would like that to happen in the second period. Let's get to the break,
Yes.
1-0, and then an avalanche of Stars goals.
Yeah, well, the Avalanche got bounced, but I know your point. Let's see. A bucket for Cat, 49-44. This game back and forth, 9 minutes to play here in the second. Just a spirited game. This is a fun series. It really is. It's a fun series. Mike said it. Not much separating these two teams. It's going to come down to, I know it sounds cheesy, but who wants it more? There's Karl Anthony Towns with a nice, powerful move to the bucket. You like to see that from your boy Cat, big guy.
I know, but while you stepped away, Mike and I were talking about this. Sometimes the most dangerous thing for Cat is that Cat's doing well, because then he starts believing every shot is possible. And if we're going to look back on what he did Sunday, a lot of those shots, when he decided to take them, I was screaming, no, 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 and then they hit. And I was like, yes, yes. But he starts to believe he can make it from anywhere. He's dropping raindrops everywhere.
Yeah, irrational confidence Cat is scary.
Yeah, irrational confidence is the word.
Remember Garnett after he won a championship? He goes, anything's possible.
He might as well have read it off of his wristband.
Anything is possible. That's true, Kevin. Well done. Well played. Not
is
well
it
played.
Though? Is it though? It's not really.
Oh, a little spicy, big guy. Hey, did you hear, Samich, before we get to the Rockies? Now, I don't know if you're going to be available, but there's a Mad Dog Sports Radio, and you are a part of Mad Dog Sports Radio. You've done broadcasts on Mad Dog Sports Radio, you and Aaron Halterman. There's a Mad Dog Sports Radio get-together at Hennessy's here on the pier in Hermosa Beach this Saturday. I'm not sure if you're going to be in attendance, but the big guy's going to be there, so maybe that's a little treat to get you to go.
Yeah, no, that is a treat. Some of us have to work weekends, Patrick. Ready, set, bet. Shameless plug, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the West Coast, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the East there. So I will not be able to make it.
Yes.
But I do think this is almost a little bit of a trope. Like, do you think they're like, how close to Patrick's house can we put it for him still not to go? Like, how close can the bar be and he still doesn't show up?
Oh, no. Don't think that the conspiracy lights haven't gone off in my head, where I realized this whole thing is just a way to get Patrick to hang out with them. So they literally did it across the street from his house.
Just limiting the excuses.
All I'm saying is I'm not feeling great. I know it's only Tuesday.
That's how I sounded in high school every Sunday night. I think I might have a sore throat.
I know it's only Tuesday, but I do feel a little bug popping up here. The Rockies. You know what's fascinating? We were talking about the Rockies yesterday. They're still like 10th in home attendance in all of baseball, and they're definitely the worst team in the history of baseball thus far. What do they have? 9 wins, boys? So betting this team is a dicey proposition because the pricing is going to be all out of whack. How are you approaching it, Mike?
Well, if I was a baseball fan and I was choosing a road stadium to go to, wouldn't you want to go to the Rockies? Wouldn't you want to go to Denver, go to Colorado? Like, phenomenal city, and you pretty much guaranteed you're going to get runs from your team and a win. Pretty good proposition there if you're looking for a road game to go to. You nailed it, Patrick. Look, the pricing on the Rockies is getting to a just ridiculous level, especially 55, 60 games into the season. We're seeing teams, their opponents, when good pitchers are on the mound, be minus 400. The Yankees were minus 3.5 runs in one of the road games in the series. Like, we're blown past minus 1.5, minus 2.5. But I want to be able to bet against really bad teams. I like, just part of my general idea around betting is take advantage when you know a team is atrocious. But the question is how. And so I kind of dove into this for the last few weeks and kind of tried to come up with a theory as to how to be profitable betting against the Rockies without ever having to go through the process of laying a ridiculous money line price, a ridiculous minus 1.5, minus 2.5, minus 3.5. I looked at the opposing pitcher to get a win, but you rarely get plus money when you're facing the Rockies, so I didn't want to go down that direction. One thing that jumped out to me, I've been tracking this for 4 series now. When the Rockies are at home, you can target the road teams 2, 3, 4, and 5 hitters to get an RBI. So essentially what you're saying is, I'm taking the best part of the lineup from the team on the road, and I know because of how bad the Rockies starters are and how bad the bullpen is, they're going to have opportunities to get RBIs. And if you don't know much about the RBI market, it's the one market where you get plus money all over the place. So since tracking this, they played the Phillies, they played the Yankees. Judge was minus 150 in all 3 games. The next highest or lowest price was minus 140 on Schwarber when the Phillies were in town. Everything else has been minus 105 or better in those last 4 series. There have been 52 opportunities for 2, 3, 4, or 5 hitters to get an RBI against the Rockies in the last 4 home series. 35 of those 52 hitters got an RBI. So 35 and 17 in the last 4 series for 2, 3, 4, and 5 hitters to get an RBI when in Coors Field. I'm going to keep playing these until I start to see some type of transition. But right now is the worst hitting weather we get in Colorado all season. This should be easier as the season goes along. And if you look at the runs market, if you look at the hits, runs, RBIs market, it's all been adjusted by 20, 30, 40 cents. The RBI market is not caught up yet. So I've been playing players to get an RBI against Colorado and specifically looking at the 2, 3, 4, and 5 hitters of those road teams.
That's a great angle.
That
is just like last year with the no bat in the 9th inning. Just monitoring these things. I mean, their pitching is awful, Mike. But I want to talk to you about the stadium because you mentioned, like, if you're a road team, you'd want to go there. I've never been to Coors, so curious, 1, if you've been there, but 2, your favorite stadium. Because this weekend, if I'm not at Hennessy's, I will be at Petco Park watching the Padres host the Pirates. I've never been. I've wanted to check it out for a while. What's your favorite stadium you've been to?
So forever will be Wrigley Field because I'm a Cubs fan and B, absolutely love Wrigley Field. It's especially before they went all crazy. Like when it used to be that the bleachers was all general admission seating. You didn't have the big billboard in the back, all that jazz. My dad and I would get down there at 10 o'clock for a 110 or 120 start. They open up the gates at 11:20. You sprint in, you try and get the front row for batting practice. It will always be Wrigley for me. Underrated stadium. I actually really like the ballpark in Anaheim where the LA Angels play. Phenomenal food. They have a bunch of fun stuff that you can do behind the scenes in the concourses, like the fastest pitch, all that jazz. But they have a ton of different games that you can do there. And then Petco actually would make the list too, Dustin. I love going to Petco. And pro tip, if you are going to Petco, go down to the Gas Lamp District, drink for the first 6 innings. They don't check tickets after the 6th. So my wife and I were down there for a weekend. We went and just drank in the Gas Lamp District and then just walked into the stadium after the 6th inning and sat wherever the heck we wanted and watched the end of the baseball games.
That's
a pro
wild.
Tip. That is wild. In this America in 2025, you can just walk into a baseball stadium?
Especially in a downtown area. Like there are people all over the place. You would think that would be one of the few places they'd be like, nah, you can't just come in here. But yeah, after the 6th inning, man, they're just like, yeah, everyone's supposed to be leaving. There's no one checking tickets. You can just walk right in.
It's California being weird. That's all it is. California just doesn't care about anything. That's so weird that you can do that.
Come on, Samo. I'm pulling for you. 45 seconds.
I know. I see 33 here on ESPN. I'm just like, just tick, baby. Let's go.
Freaking YouTube. Samich is on the under 1.5. Edmonton, Dallas. I'll say something. You brought it up. You said that the Yankees were laying 3.5 runs, so obviously 1.5 general on the run line. I've seen 2.5s. I'll just be honest, I've never seen 3.5. That's insane.
Yeah, it was -3.5 plus 110. I was like, is this a typo? Is this? And it's not even like you have to dig into the game and look at the extra. No, just the straight run line listed on books was 3.5 minus 110. I believe it was on Sunday for the Yankees game after they covered the 3.5 the day before. So it's gotten to a point where if you want to bet against the Rockies, you got to get creative. And as I broke down earlier, the RBI market right now is the best place to get creative.
Yeah, Samo, my new hot take is, everyone's talking about moving the Tampa Bay Rays. Obviously, we have the A's coming to Vegas. I know the stadium is beautiful. I know we just talked about. I don't know if you can really build a consistent winner in Colorado. I think that needs to be a discussion about moving the team out of Colorado. Like, you just can't. No pitcher is ever going to willingly sign there.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. I mean, it's not just a disadvantage. You're getting a specific situation here where you're just going to have people who don't want to be there. Now, that being said, if I was like in charge of a low budget organization, Colorado would actually be one of the top ones on my list because I believe you could actually build a team specifically to that ballpark. You have 5 ground ball pitchers, guys who give up fly balls. You specifically tailor your offensive lineup around who can hit with power to gaps that are favorable in Colorado. I mean, to me, you should use that ballpark as an advantage. You shouldn't see it as a disadvantage if you're the front office. They just haven't gone through the process and gone down the road of, okay, how can we, they always talk about how a good coach has a good game plan. A great coach can tailor his game plan to the players. Tailor your players to the park to allow yourself to have more success.
There you have it. Power play for Dallas, but just 7 seconds here. So I think we're going to get out of the first, so we'll get into the second with a power play. Let's go, Samo.
It's never easy.
2.8 seconds. Now we got 51s with the Knicks and Pacers. Before we go to break and come back with Michael, what do we have for an in-game number there? Big guy tied at 51s.
Yeah, right now we've dipped a little. 238.5 is your total, and the Pacers are laying just 1 and a hook.
Okay, 1.5 there on the Pacers. Mike Samich, professional bettor, of course, VSiN host. Weekends 1 to 4 on VSiN. And coming up on Friday with Aaron Halterman, VSiN at the Track, the road to the Belmont. By the way, Samo and I are going to be hosting the Belmont show on Saturday. What is it? Not this Saturday, but the next?
It is the 6th or 7th of June. I think it's the 6th of June. Yeah, we'll be hosting there. You're also hosting on Friday, VSiN at the Track, Road to the Belmont, the Friday before the Belmont as well, Patrick.
Oh, that's news to him.
Plug that one, too.
That's news to him.
I was literally going to be like, this Friday?
No, you got some
Next
time.
Friday.
Yeah, I know you don't check the schedule, so it's okay. Don't worry about it.
At VSiN, at VSiN Live on YouTube for the program this Friday. It's great. They get involved in the chat. You guys are going to love it. Mike Samich, you cashed that under in Edmonton. Good job by you. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Have a good one, boys.
Michael Fiddle's joining us next. VSiN Live, Mad Dog
This
Sports Radio.
is spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
An aggressive cat to the bucket and gets a hoop. So it's 56-56, 4 minutes to play in the second. This game started off a crazy pace. Slowed down a bit. Brunson with a missed layup, so we're going back the other way with that Pacers pace. And Halliburton in the game. Halliburton went nuts in the first quarter. We'll get you set up with those numbers. as we do welcome you back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Maher. Hour 3, and we're going to be joined by Michael Fiddle, NBA handicapper, the Action Network contributor at Fiddle's Picks. I like that, on Twitter. Michael, welcome to the program. Pleasure to meet you. We'll start with this one. You were on the Knicks. You took the money line tonight in Game 4, correct?
Yeah, I did. I expected there to be a little late market push towards the New York Knicks. We actually saw it come the other way. So I'm sweating my bets more than I normally would because, to be honest and upfront, I wasn't loving the process when I saw the closing line close up at 3.
Well, you're from New York, so I'm going to guess you're probably a Knicks fan, and there are probably challenges as someone who likes to make their living handicapping these games when your team's involved, and you're also not really used to this over the course of your life with the Knicks going to the Eastern Conference Final. Has that been a problem for you with the team from New York being here right now?
I've been betting at a high level since I was 18 years old and started illegally doing it as a freshman in college. So the amount of basketball fandom has been weeded out of me over the last 15 years. And slightly after college, I actually worked for the Brooklyn Nets. So I have some people and some people I consider family at Brooklyn. So it goes both ways. But I had family at games 1 and 2. So I caught myself backing the Knicks in game 1 and got that dreaded end of that horrible Neesmith and the Pacers going 7 for 7 from 3, including the Halliburton 2 bounce up to the moon and then fall in. Yeah, that one hurt. But I was actually looking Pacers game 2, came back Knicks game 3 with the under. So it's actually been a good series for me here.
So Halliburton with a long 3, it's off 60 to 58, 2:20 to play. We'll keep you updated with the in-game number there. Michael, you mentioned starting betting early, which is not rare for somebody from New York. There's a bucket and one for Anunoby, who's going to the stripe, 60 to 60. We'll keep you updated. What started your journey into betting?
I actually, my mom was getting engaged and had a guy who wanted to get to know me a little bit better. So he threw $500 in an account and we would throw $50 on games and we were watching together. And then I went back to college. I called my mom up. I asked to speak to him and I said, can I actually have that username and password? And I think this is a pretty actually good story. I ended up turning that account from $500 to $18,000 my freshman year of college. But the more significant thing of it was this was 15 years ago, and this was before parlays were being thrown in everyone's faces. I remember like there was if then bets, like if this thing happens, then place this bet in case you didn't have internet access between things you were doing to put in different wagers, but it wasn't shoved in your face. So when I was first exposed to betting, I actually went to the library a lot my freshman year of college, was having spreadsheets, was studying professional gambling at a high level. I'm a chess player. I solved a Rubik's Cube myself as a kid. So I like to figure things out with game theory, optimal tactics. I was always a great poker player with my friends. So I had this kind of instinct that it was in me. But then I really got into it, including like daily fantasy sports were a big thing back then. And I kind of cracked the codes on which stacked lineups were optimal together and things like that. So it was a great, successful, like early college career actually in the gambling space. And I was always first access point was smart gambling taxes. So since then, I've only built on that. And I've actually gotten lucky that I got in early and avoided some of the traps and the pitfalls that seem to be unmistakable and unmissable as you're entering the space these days.
Let me follow up on that. I'm terrible with math. I remember the in-game stuff right around like 06-ish, 07-ish. Is that right? Do you remember when you started going in-game online?
Mine was around 2011.
Okay, so yeah, and that how much has that become part of your arsenal, as far as you don't have to give me a percentage, but mitigating bets or just in-game betting in general?
Very little, unless I'm looking for like live arbitrage situations, or if I have a ticket, like I'm so fixated on the pregame markets. So I actually feel like it's a slight hindrance when you're in the live spaces, being so fixated on what was the pregame sharp side, because it might be factoring something that is completely changed early in the game, and it is not the variable that they forecasted. So I get too fixated and too anchored by what that pregame action was. So I find myself dabbling in the live markets when it's more I had a bad ticket and it was bad process. For example, WNBA tonight, I'm on the Atlanta Dream and I grabbed that ticket early, but Brittany Griner was then ruled out. And so that line has swung 3 points the other way against me. So if the Dream start hot and they're up 7 at halftime, I might look to, create a middle and dump that ticket and some of that exposure. So it is more, like you said, risk mitigation. It is more baked into risk mitigation than it is into like, how do I optimally grow my bankroll?
I'm curious, Michael, just because, I see your social media presence. You do an awesome job. You put out a ton of content. And I know you're an NBA, WNBA basketball bettor. Has it always been basketball? Because of the major pro sports, the one that I find to be the hardest to like lock down consistent winning, especially if you're going to bet sides and totals, is the NBA. Have you done other sports or have you always been an NBA bettor?
So I started with NBA and I'm an NBA nut. Like I'm just a huge NBA fan. And I actually think there's a lot of truth to you can be successful in the markets that you know most, because I know intricacies of salary cap and I know coaches' tendencies and I know matchup history and I know rivalry date. I know players' birthdays, so much and so more. So it's just like, that's really what's become my bread and butter. But I do think the most important point within that is which markets are probably the most efficient, which lines where you gain closing line value and enter the tip off with a plus EV ticket end up being the most efficient. And the WNBA has actually been the most over the last 5 years, and the NBA right behind that. So we had a large segment of the NFL season where it was like the public sides are winning and baseball is so variable. NHL is so variable. So actually the basketball markets, I rarely chose them because that's what I know and love. But in truth, it's also the most efficient when you study the metrics of the market.
Are you sides totals, or are you big time prop bettor as well?
Mainly sides and totals. I've started to dabble in some props, but it's not too often for me. Again, you're betting into higher holds there, which for the listeners, the hold is the market rake rate. So how much is the book expected to make regardless of what side you bet on? And so with props, you're betting into 6.5%, 7% holds. And so with games, you can get more action down and you're betting into a sub 5% hold. So there are times when I will do a player prop or, go into those markets, but it is a little more rare for me. There are opportunities. I will also study them. Like they're becoming bigger markets. You could start to get more money down, but also quick to limit an account and affect the account health moving forward. So I really stay sides and totals and know that the larger edge can be found in the bigger markets.
And what is your balancing act with like information? Because it sounds like you attack from a multitude of angles here. And, sometimes the one thing I learned when I started betting was I thought I knew sports, but apparently I don't know anything about sports, because the thing that I think is going to happen doesn't happen as much as I believe so. And then you've got all these trends, you've got stats, you've got research. Like, how do you balance all the information and narratives to go with it when you're coming up with what you want to look at each day?
I think the first starting point is understanding what's happening in the betting market specifically to what you're trying to bet. And so trends, I always say, I wish I had a time machine, or I wish someone told me, it's 6-2 in the last 8. Well, I wish I had a time machine to go back 8 games ago and then start betting it. But we don't know if that's factored in, priced in, if it's matchup data. So I typically avoid trends and I look towards the markets. Today's a perfect example. Again, in the WNBA, we saw the Dallas Wings, who are apparently 0-24 in their last 24 games dating back to last season, where the total's this number and the spread is this number. I'm like, this Dallas team is the sharp side. It is a brand new season. They just brought in Paige Beckers, who's a great creator and a pretty good rebounder for a guard. And we see the Dallas Wings right now up 20 in the fourth quarter, closing that one out. They were the obvious side to be on. The market is the first place to start. And then I guess I would kind of dabble in trying to create a model. There's a lot of resources online to do that, and then test the workings of the model against what the market numbers are. I don't know if that's too confusing, but don't look at the results. I don't care if the game went over or under. I care about, does your number match the number that was there at the close?
Let's keep digging into the process. We got a sharp one here. Michael Fiddle, NBA handicapper, the Action Network contributor at Fiddle's Picks on Twitter. Are you using AI?
I do not. I actually have a hired research assistant, though.
Okay. No need to flex on me, Michael. I got you. I got you. The WNBA. Let the audience know your approach. Do you have troubles getting down and WNBA?
No, not in. I definitely, like, people say I lower my unit. I think a unit is super theoretical. Yes, I do bet less when it comes to the WNBA markets, but no, maybe it's a day of more than the overnights. Maybe I'll disguise things in the WNBA market. Like, if we want to get really nerdy and actually kind of sharp too, you can do plus EV parlays. So if you notice two lines that have a really high degree of being plus CLV and that they're going to be plus EV by tip off, you can parlay them. And ideally they're completely separate events and you get plus 264, which is the standard 2-leg parlay ratio. And then you could do that. And if they both gain a good amount of closing line value, I mean, you'll literally be offered a positive value cash out before the game even tips off. So those are ways to disguise some early action, and long term the ROI is pretty similar. If you're a 55% winner, which the numbers say 56% for me over the last year so far, so it's been a good run. If you're a 55% winner and you're betting these 2-leg parlays with these plus 264s, you'll return a 6% ROI instead of doing the same thing and getting a 3% ROI in strictly straights. So there are ways to kind of get around it. And I actually use information in a big way. I would say not the trends like you were saying, but I'll follow every single beat writer in the sport. I'll make a specific Twitter list and follow them. I do a lot more listening than I do talking, despite, being in content space and hosting a show. I listen way more than I speak. So I'm often taking in the information and doing what's called probabilistic modeling. So if a player has a 60% chance of playing, I'll factor 60% of their worth.
Were you involved a couple years ago? I'm sure you remember, even if you weren't involved, the WNBA All-Star Game. And this kind of points out why it's a market for people to learn and to bet in, because there's opportunities. But do you remember it was maybe 2 years ago, the All-Star Game, one book posted a total for it, didn't know that it was a USA versus the world. And that thing, I think, got bet down like 40, 50 points. Can you explain what happened there? Were you involved in that?
I was not involved in it. It's a scheduled off break for me, and I missed the boat there. I remember it. I remember hearing about it, that the WNBA line moved 40 points, and that they were also like, they weren't voiding the tickets. This was like a real line that they put up, right? It wasn't a past post error where, nowadays they'll void the tickets, which I agree. Like, if they accidentally put up a line 40 points off, it shouldn't be bettable. Let's not be ridiculous here. So this one was real. And it was crazy. That would be an obvious place. Like, no matter how much exposure you have down, you got to open the middle in that case. You got to play it back and try and middle that with some of your exposure there. But I was not involved at all.
And we'll circle back on some of your theory. Let's quickly, boys, set up the halftime number here. I've got the Knicks laying 0.5 point and 108 on the total in the second half. For that number, just quickly get the score. So the Pacers do lead by 5, 69-64 at the break. If I just Dustin, you may have a different number for the second half. I got 0.5 on the Knicks and 108 on the total. Dude, for the two of you, Michael, I'll start with you. Does that mean anything, that halftime number, to you?
No, that's pretty standard to see a reduced score line in the second half and the underdog be, taking a little bit of action, or be shaded, I guess would be the right term, towards that action.
Dustin, you doing anything there?
Yeah, I'm trying to look the shooting was so obscene in that first quarter. It did come back down to earth, but the Knicks are shooting 41% from three. Indy shooting 50%. I'd think about the under 108. Yep, and it's starting to move. It was 108.5 when I pulled up the box score. It's now 107.5. The under would be the way I'd look at that one.
All right, Michael Fiddle joining us here, professional bettor, the Action Network. Are you a WNBA fan, or is it business?
Both, but also huge. I love the W because 13 teams and only 44 games in the schedule, it makes it so easy to follow. It makes it so clear to remember what was the most recent game. You get about 2 games per week for these teams. So it's very manageable, digestible throughout the summer. Big fan. Actually, I would argue some of the situations are more competitive. You have no resting during the regular season because all of the women want to play. And then there's some amazing drama, if you want to really get in the weeds, but there's some amazing drama that happens in the WNBA as well.
Are you concerned because it is growing in popularity? As it grows, maybe your edges might be harder to find as more people are locked into the WNBA?
I think it's twofold. I think with more people coming into the WNBA market, I might be able to get more money down because the market might expand. So maybe a less ROI still returns a more net return. So I think that would be a fair trade-off. I think with more fish coming in, there's maybe more opportunities on exchanges to, put out offers and see if they take them on the other side. And then I also think if we think about it with the growing game, there's going to be a lot more information out there. So some of the things that I struggle with to find and derive the edge is like the lack of information about what's happening with some players or what some injury situations is. Like I mentioned earlier, I got the bad news on the Brittany Griner, and that's why I'm 3 points behind the line. Like if there was more aggregation and more people following these teams and more podcasts covering it day to day, there might be more angles to, act quick because I am often in front of my screens.
You mentioned the competitiveness with the condensed schedule. How do you handle the regular season NBA betting as compared to the postseason NBA betting?
Postseason's, of course, harder. I think the thing to preach is just because these games are more important for the players does not mean that it has to be more important for us as bettors. Like, that's really what I drive home. My bet size, my bet volume, like all of those things often decrease in the playoffs. Like my Knicks spreads and my Knicks money lines, like quarter units in different spots that I thought were good prices at the time. But, if the game goes either way, it's not a make or break. I think there's, bigger edges in games that are being less bet into, but you could still get money down. And at this point, I mean, not only do we have 82 regular season games of data, we have multiple playoff rounds. We have venue switches between both of these teams within this series already priced. So yeah, it's definitely hard. And when I was reaching out to you guys before the show, it's like, I don't really have too much bets to give out for the next series of games because by the time you reach game 5 in a series, it's a tight market. Every open, every close, every resistance point, and every kind of matchup twist that could impact the line, and you get pretty stagnant markets.
As someone who is, one, a basketball fan, two, someone who analyzes the numbers the way you do, what do you think of what Oklahoma City has done this year? Because I was late to the party, Michael. I was not buying a lot of this, and everyone was telling us how great they were, and I'm admitting I was wrong. I was dead wrong. I'm all in now. I can't believe how suffocating they are in defense, how it turns into offense. What have been your thoughts of OKC going up, building on what they did a year ago?
I think they might be the 3rd or 4th best basketball team I've ever seen. And so I don't do the whole I'm going to rank the 96 Bulls when I was 4 years old. Like I'm not going to rank Bird or Magic in my all-time ranks because I never watched a game. I didn't know a single story. Maybe I could see some highlights and watch an old game on YouTube, but that's ridiculous to then equate it. In the games that I've seen and the history of my, 18 years closely following this league and 15 years betting it, this is one of the best teams I've ever seen besides the Durant, Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Warriors. This team versus the Heatles. This team versus the Duncan, Ginobili, Parker Spurs. I wish we could, and I wish I should run the model and pull the old numbers and see who would be a favorite. OKC against the Heatles. And I'm sure the numbers would say Oklahoma City.
Yeah, they're that good. Their defense is I'm much older than you, so grew up with my 89-90 Pistons, the bad boys. They remind me of them, the way they help, the way they switch, everything they do on defense. Dustin mentioned turning those turnovers into points. Let's quickly talk about Game 5 coming up tomorrow night. You do like Wolves Thunder under 220.5.
Yeah, this is just the highest this total has gotten in this series. And generally by game 5, you start to know exactly what your opponent is doing. The defensive assignments become clearer. You start to kind of short them to their weakness, and you can kind of get the offense in some tight spots. We generally see less pace as you start to move through series as well, especially when you tack on the conference final schedule, which is every other night, and there's none of that, 2-day break in this. It's every other night for these teams. So they've been going for a while. That might impact the shooting efficiency from deep, which the Wolves have been very reliant on. I think the pace slows down. I think the defense is a little bit more known and clear. So I think at this point, just simply seeing the highest number that we've seen. I know the last 3 games went over, the first game went under, but just seeing that, I mean, we are 8 points higher than where this market was in game 1. So it is just too drastic for me to say the results of 3 games should move the line, 7-8 points. So for that reason, under 220.5 would be, I would say, the best spot.
It doesn't have to be an official number, but I'm wondering now, if it's Oklahoma City versus Indiana or Oklahoma City versus New York, what would you make the series price in either of those matchups?
Series price. Okay, series price is going to be OKC minus 600, plus 450 towards the other side, pretty much to both of them. I think what we're seeing right now is the Knicks get a little bit of a power rating down and the Pacers get a slight power rating up. So I think we're going to be, right around where OKC is at minus 575, minus 600. And that's why, like, one bet that I definitely would like on the board is BetMGM's OKC minus 375 to win the title, because unless they lose 3 straight, then I think this line is going to reflect what a minus 550 is and would be outright hedgeable and arbable when we get to game 1. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that, but I would ride that OKC ticket and take a slice of a minus 375 that's out there on the market. Really anything to 450 or below.
Michael Fiddle, NBA handicapper, the Action Network, at Fiddle's Picks on Twitter, enjoying diving into the theory and just life in general. So once June comes around and the NBA season wraps up, you've got your WNBA. Do you dabble baseball? Do you get into football? Or do you pretty much take it off the fall?
So I also used to work for the Yankees. And while I loved working for the Yankees, it made me not really love the sport of baseball. So I will take baseball completely off. I have some sharp people in my network who will send me things, and I just won't even bother because I'm like, it's not even worth my time to check the score and even worry about it. So I know nothing about baseball anymore. NFL, I definitely do, but I work with a few other people in the space, so I don't do much in the content space for football, but I definitely do bet it. I wish I didn't.
Betting I find the NFL, I'm guessing college football as well. When it comes to the NFL, because obviously as a national audience here, Mad Dog Sports Radio, that's where most of their betting is going to go. Do you find yourself betting more sides or totals in the NFL, or are you dabbling in props?
Definitely do props. I set up a lot of middles in the NFL market. I mean, there'll just be things that passing yards that hang out 9 to 11 yards apart on different books. So I'll just play those against each other and hope for the best that it lands in the middle. When you set up those middles, assuming minus 110 on both sides, you're having a 5% implied probability and a 20 to 1 on your bet. So if you have like 11 yards in the middle, I mean, you have north of a 7-8% chance to hit that bet. So I like doing that. I do bet sides and totals. I would say I do more money lines in football than anything else. I feel like those are slightly lower holds. And so I'll often do it because it gets so ugly with how every point matters so much, and every fumble and every turnover and every bad call. Like, football just drives me crazy sometimes. And then when you get in a bad swing and you just run, in the NBA, you run bad for 3 days. There's the 4th day. In the NFL, you run bad for 3 slates. You're a month in and you're feeling horrible about yourself. So less is more for me, but yes, I do things, and I try and do low risk, high reward things like middles.
And do you dabble at all with futures? I have gotten out of control with futures at times, but I like the plus money. I like taking the long shot that becomes real, then allows me to like look at other bets in the market and lock in an ROI. Do you find yourself using a lot of futures or no?
I generally hate them. So few and far between. Like hopping on the OKC Thunder futures now in the title because they matriculate in less than a month becomes very realistic for me. I will bet win totals. It really comes down to, what's the hold in that market. So things like MVPs or awards markets, I find complete bogus that you're betting into north of a 10% hold and they're holding your money. Like you should be betting into a 2% hold if you get to hold my money in your bank and make some interest off that the whole time. This is ridiculous that it costs even more. I find the whole thing outlandish. So I'd rather just churn the bankroll, do some live arbing, even some arbing pregame with player props. There's often good tools to find those out there. And so what you would put in a plus 6,000 thing that seems fun. I mean, it's great for content. It's very fun to talk about and track, but it's not, I would say, not what is best for bankroll optimization.
Hey, Michael Fiddle, I have a hypothetical. So you live in a beautiful part of the country, I won't say where, with certainly beautiful women. You're on a date, hypothetically. What do you say you do?
Oh.
So I have a recent new girlfriend about 6 months ago. It's going great. We were recently on a date. We walked past a basketball court. I asked the guy to throw me the ball. I threw up a 3. It went in swish. I looked over at her. I said, no big deal. We walked 7 steps. I turned to her and I said, I got to be honest. That was the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. I told her I hosted.
Well, take us back 6 months ago.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I told her I hosted a podcast, and I go an actually good podcast. And she was like, "What's it called?" And I didn't tell her the name. I was like, "So what time are we meeting up?" And then when she asked me the name of the podcast, I said it focuses on sports gambling. I said it's the Advantage Sports Betting Podcast, and it focuses on sports betting because I'm like kind of a real math guy, and I've studied out how to gamble on sports and win with advantages within the math. And she's like, oh, that's pretty cool and whatever. And then I guess when it's newer in the relationship that you get the, oh, that's really cool no matter what it is. Come back to me in 2 years. We'll see how it's hitting.
Usually what they love us for at the beginning, they tend to dislike us for towards the end.
Yeah, now she's interested in the games. That's not going to last.
Well, that is now you've got someone to ride out sweat out the bets with you. The NBA season can be quite arduous. That when you tell her on a Thursday night, we can't do dinner tonight, we got TNT here. Does it start to annoy her? Or is she cool at this point?
You ready for this one? She's a lawyer, high-profile lawyer, so she's quite busy herself. So it's
okay.
We find times when we can, but it's pretty understood. And even the downtime, we'll put on a game in the background, which is nice.
There you go. Well, that's a tremendous job. I enjoyed it. So the podcast is the Advantage Sports Betting Podcast?
Yeah, and I do a show pretty much every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time, just reviewing the basketball market, whatever games there are, NBA or WNBA. I will go through them all.
Okay. I guess I do have one more follow-up. So you said your mom's, at the time, boyfriend or maybe husband, I don't know, got you involved. Mm-hmm. So I'm guessing the family back in New York is cool with your chosen profession.
Yeah, I mean, they know the results. It's hard to argue the results.
I love that as an answer. That is an answer.
That's like hitting the 3 in front of your boo. That's a flex. The results speak for themselves, Mom. Just chill. I got it covered.
I'll have my dad calling me and going, CLV on a bet I placed, and it's great. It's a family victory lap.
How do you handle the rigors of sports betting Twitter?
You know what's the real secret? I've never said it before. I'll say it here. I just don't respond to negative stuff. It's that simple. I mean, you just, if you want to come at me and in that kind of way, I don't need to engage with that. So I'll move on. I just don't respond. Like I just won't. It's like you'll think I might never have seen it.
That's the right answer. A bunch of losers. Don't let them bring you down,
I don't pick
bro.
fights. I love gambling Twitter because it has afforded me a lot of opportunities to collaborate with some amazing people in this space. So the good parts are fantastic. I follow everyone back that follows me. I have my DMs open for people to reach out to me. And sometimes people will send me amazing bet opportunities. So I have made, more on just getting messages on Twitter than I have like probably in the content space together, because I could actually check that information quickly and see that it's actionable. Be like, whoa, this is a great spot. People listen to the show. They understand my strategies. They're starting to reapply them and reach out to me with opportunities. It's perfect. So I love it for that reason. And the negative stuff, I mean, I assume that's what you were alluding to with how crazy it gets. It just gets ugly, and I think it's sad, and I just don't engage.
And Twitter is @FiddlesPicks. And like Dustin said, a lot of picks given there. So if you want some content, go give Michael a follow @FiddlesPicks. And by the way, the next time a host asks you, do you use AI? You just simply say, I am AI, brother. That is.
I love that.
AI uses me.
Because
you talk about practice.
That's how Michael's brain works. Michael Fiddle, NBA. That was a tremendous spot. We'll do it again soon. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thanks for reaching out. I'll hop on anytime.
Okay. Enjoy the basketball. Michael Fiddle, tremendous. Enjoyed that. The Action Network and the podcast is the Advantage Sports Betting Podcast @FiddlesPicks on Twitter. We're back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, we got a 10-point game right now in Indianapolis with the Pacers up 80-70. I don't get the impression this game's over, though, if you're a Knicks fan like the big guy, as Karl Anthony Towns battling down low misses Mitchell Robinson with a huge board and a dunk to cut it to 8, 80-72. So we'll keep you updated there. On the ice, the Stars tied it up. The Oilers up 2-1, 8:32 to play there in the second. So the Oilers do lead that series 2-1. They are up 2-1 in the game. We just had a very interesting kid on the program. I just took a look at his Twitter. If you want some free plays and a lot of really good content, go to Fiddles Picks on Twitter. Give him a follow. Very interesting kid. The Advantage Sports Betting Podcast. Enjoyed that spot. With
Karl Anthony
with
Towns.
Michael. Yeah,
sorry,
I mean,
real quick.
You got to give him credit. He just he just airballed the three, actually.
Well, there's moments where I'm like really happy. He's playing physical. He's willing to bang. I don't mind him missing shots when he's playing down low and like playing like a traditional big. It's just on that possession, he missed a shot underneath, got the ball back, and with 9 seconds on the shot clock, just threw up a prayer air ball. I didn't understand that. On Michael, I thought that was a fascinating conversation. It was very early in that chat. I realized, oh, you're one of those people who realized you're really smart and good at numbers at a young age, and we're able to capitalize on it. Where I'm not good at numbers, I'm not good at words, and I'm just very jealous.
Like that, I was eagerly anticipating and wondering when did you realize you were smart question was coming.
No, I realize it's not a good question. It didn't go well last time, but I genuinely was thinking.
Who did you ask that? Who did you ask that of?
Someone recently.
Yeah,
it was last week.
You said, when did you realize you're smart?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe it was the hockey guy.
Maybe. Was it a hockey? I don't even remember at this point. I have to go back and look. But I mean, you weren't thinking it, listening to him speak, realizing all of a sudden I can make a living betting while I'm in college, like.
Nah. Not really. I didn't. He's smart, but I wasn't blown away 500 to 18 grand. Come on, man. What are we doing here? You get tied up by those smart kids a little bit.
I do. I'm fascinated by it because, well, I would say this.
I enjoyed the conversation.
This is going to be a dangerous statement for me. My issue isn't necessarily the picking the winners. It's like properly managing the situation to build the bankroll. I tend to get excited and blow the whole thing.
Yeah, because you're a normal guy that likes to bet.
Yeah, I like to have action. Like I have, let's look. On Picks page, I've got 9 bets on a Tuesday.
Yeah, you like to you enjoy it. It's fun. So yeah, don't beat yourself up over that. I mean, listen, is he next level when he's talking about, when people start throwing arbitrage, obviously we know what it means, but he's got his own models. He's got his own. We're just two guys that like to bet.
Oh no, arbitrage was one of like the 3 words I understood that he said. The rest of the words I was like, I can't Google these quick enough to know it. He's like, in the game flow formula when they're, I'm like, I don't know what he's saying. I don't know.
I saw when he was talking. I saw you getting tied up a little bit there.
I was like, you just do instead of looking like a dog confused, like at its owner, instead I just went, no, totally understand. And you move on. You make people think you're on their same wavelength.
You wonder with a kid like that, what he telling when he goes out on a date with a chick when he says, "I'm a plus EV better."
Well, see, you're gonna hate this because I was gonna ask you about this because I know you've done it in the past. Whenever I get in an Uber, they ask me what I do for a living, and I've realized saying the truth, it starts a conversation I don't want to have. Are you being big time on me right now? No, I knew you were gonna, but that's not how I mean.
I'm not. Well, how am I being a dick? Just say what you do.
Because I want to be in an Uber with silence, and they'll ask what you do. So I started telling people I do security at casinos. That's been my move.
So that is the throw. Like you assume if you say you're security at casinos, they got no follow-ups.
The problem is a few of them have asked me questions about like, well, when you're in the back when you're in the back, what's like the maze like back there? Is this? And they bring up things that I don't know either because like they're not just an Uber driver. They also worked in casinos, and I get caught. I get caught lying about my profession.
That's generally in life what happens with lying.
Yeah, I just don't want to speak in the Uber.
So let's walk through it without you getting mad at me. If you said what you did, yeah, post sports talk radio. What would be the dangers there? And
well, it's either then asking me how I started doing that, or they just want to talk sports,
which you love.
I don't know. I don't like talking to strangers. In an Uber, I just want silence. I want to be left alone with my thoughts, scrolling social media and being brain dead for like 20 minutes.
No,
I don't want to talk.
I don't disagree with you there. But I have heard people in our industry, they're like, when people ask me, I don't want to get, like, it's almost like they think they're like too cool for school. You're not that.
I've never been cool a day in my life. I can never claim that one single time. So no. It's not a being
I think
cool
you're
thing.
Cool. I think you're a cool
I'm
guy.
I'm not. But that's the charm that I offer, is that I know I'm not cool, okay? Like that's the one positive you'll get out of me. I'll never think I'm the coolest person in the room, and that's totally fine.
Do you ever write Lindquist back?
No.
For those that don't remember.
That was his spot.
Eric Lindquist used to join us on the program, didn't reply to the big guy's text.
Twice.
Quote, he's dead to me. And you know what? You've stood by it. It's a good job by you.
I just can't, dude. I'm 40. I can't be the desperate producer guy who just is willing to do anything for anyone to appear on the show. Because guess what? Eric was great. I loved him on the show. He was a great guest. But we just replaced him with someone else who gave us another great conversation. There are people out there we can have great conversations with.
That is true. That is true. They're out there, big guy. We will find them. Now, you said you weren't cool. I said you are. Twizzy's cool. And you'll be seeing him. You'll be seeing him on Saturday.
Stop.
He joins us now. Twizzy in Los Angeles. Hi, Twiz.
Hey, what's up, Patrick, man? You know what? That was a good conversation you had. That was like the opposite of that one conversation you had with Lincoln Kennedy back in the day. That was a good
I remember that.
Well, I'm trying to remember.
He was smoking a cigar. He gave 5-word answers, and you ended it with, care less about a spot, bro.
I don't remember it going well. Is what you're saying, Twiz?
Yeah, that did not go well.
No,
and you let him know. But
I mean, seriously, just if you're gonna agree to do something, give me a little enthusiasm, Lincoln. I don't care who you are, you know.
Hey, big guy, you've never been down in San Diego? I mean, I was just there this weekend for Memorial Day weekend. I was down there hanging out in the Gaslamp District.
Do you have any suggestions for food, drinks, any spots that jumped out to you that you're into? I'm open.
Man, when I go, I like the Rockin' Baja down there. That's where we went and got the Mexican seafood infusion stuff. Oh man, that right there. Look, I'm gonna send you a picture of it on Twitter when we get off here.
All right.
But if you do come to Hermosa, look, I'm bringing my +1 if you bring yours. So.
Oh! Double date with Twiz.
Look at. Do you have a response to Twizzy?
Look, don't think like the main positive of going to thing would be to hang out with Twizzy. Don't think that wouldn't be the number one reason to go.
Right, but he mentioned +1.
So now we've gone from 4 to 5 people sitting at the table.
No, but he mentioned he's bringing a +1. Will you be bringing a +1?
If I go, I will very likely be bringing a +1.
There you go, Twiz. There you go.
But see, if it's not what it needs to be, see, you're out in Hermosa Beach, dog. It's plenty to do with your +1. You can just shake the spot and go hang out, man. There's plenty to do. But look,
go to Patrick's house.
Ooh, I don't know about all that.
Hey, we can go hang with Patrick and bring the party to his spot. That's not a bad idea.
Hey, I got an attack dog. Jeezy might get at you guys. You guys got to be careful.
Send the ghosts after us.
Dogs love me. Dogs love me. But look, this game right here, there's no way that the Knicks can win this game. They don't have enough guys that can score. At this pace, there's absolutely no way. And if I could just make one bitch as a Dodger. I know, as a Dodger fan, I know nobody wants to hear Dodger fans bitching with all the riches that we have. But why the hell we didn't have a shortstop? Why is Mookie Betts still playing shortstop? Man, that's getting on my nerves right now.
Twizzy, good to see you. Hear you, and maybe we will be saying good to see you after Saturday. The big guy with the +1. Do you want to answer his situation with the shortstop?
Yeah, I just think they believe Mookie can do anything. I don't know if he made an error today or something. They did finally move on from Chris Taylor about 2 years too late, it feels like. Chris Taylor was awesome a while back, and now he's on the Angels. I just think they looked at the market and they said, look, we have Mookie, we have Miguel Rojas, we have Tommy Edman. We can make things work up the middle. We have a lot of versatile guys that are all pretty good. I do think it's weird moving Mookie Betts around a ton, especially when, like, outfield, he can cover a ton of, like, he could be the best right fielder in baseball. Instead, he's just going to be like a good middle infielder.
I mean, he's just such a great athlete. I agree.
You know he could be a professional bowler if he wanted to. Like, he's that good at bowling.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think they just thought that's a position they could make work. It's just an embarrassment of riches. But like you said, I mean, they're in first, but they're underperforming. So I guess that's the best way to frame the Dodgers up to this point. Although Ohtani did hit another bomb today, he said.
Yeah, he hit his 20th of the year, but they've had a ton of injuries to the pitching staff. Like, that's part of the problem here for the Dodgers is, like, if you're throwing 13, 14 different guys before Memorial Day, things haven't necessarily gone right for the team, and that's where they're at. They'll get healthier. They'll continue to be awesome. I mean, you're still not getting a value bet-wise on them when it comes to the division, but that division's tight. I do think they're going to start to pull away. We've seen San Diego, although they've been playing a lot better of late. We've seen San Diego have some issues, and I know Michael King just went on the IL. Obviously, the Giants, the offense is not sustainable there. Arizona, I think, could play better, but there's a huge talent gap between the Dodgers and the D-backs.
Twizzy said your Knicks can't win this game. Brunson at the free throw line. We'll come back, update you on the score and the in-game number. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Quickly update. Halliburton just had he had a great layup, came back, picked the pocket of Brunson, then was fouled. So we are at a break. And right now, it's 94-84, a 10-point lead. I'm a little behind on my TV, so I didn't see how the Pacers scored. But what's the updated in-game number here?
Yeah, right now we have Indy laying 6.5, total 242.5. And I should note that Tyrese Halliburton has 3 fouls. So curious if the Knicks are going to try to attack him and get him into foul trouble here as the fourth quarter approaches.
That was a 3 from
Wow.
I thought his foot was on his foot was on the line, unless they ended up changing that. Yeah, no, they took it down from a 3 to a 2 for McConnell. Is it McConnell or O'Connell? Why did I just botch his name?
McConnell.
Yeah, McConnell. Okay, so that's where we stand there. As far as the hockey, just quickly remember all your picks, all your bets you can find and become a pro over at VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SeriousCat with a nice drive. It's going to go to the free throw. Going to go to the free throw line. I thought it was going to be an and one. And we are at the second intermission in Edmonton with the Oilers leading 2-1 over the Stars. Lead 2-1 in the series. Do the Oilers. Okay.
How would you feel about a cup rematch, Edmonton and Florida?
I think it's proving to be the two best teams. Florida is definitely the best team in hockey right now, in my estimation. And whereas I thought the Stars most likely were going to win the series, the Oilers have proven to be the better team. That's pretty obvious, especially if they hold on tonight and go up 3-1. So I'd be into it. Star power.
I think it's a good way to get It's a good way to get some like random rivalries going in the NHL. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, star power. Let's close tabs. Where are you starting here tonight?
All right. Well, I mentioned to you, I found this new account that goes through what presidents like to eat. So I compiled a few. We can run through one or two of them here. The first one we got to talk about, it's actually lunch. Instead of breakfast, we'll do lunch with this one president. His lunch was a shrimp wiggle. Don't know what that is. And an Echo Emerald jelly salad. Now, Echo Emerald Jello salad, it features 1 cup of celery minced, 2 tablespoons of pimentos, pineapple crushed, vinegar, cold water, and Jello mix. Do you know what president ate a shrimp wiggle and the Jello salad?
No, it sounds like an old president. That sounds disgusting. Lay it on me.
I believe, was he president during the Great Depression, FDR?
Yes, he was.
Sounds like a depression meal to me.
Yeah, it sounds like he was depressed and he ate accordingly, because that sounds repulsive. All right.
Okay.
What else you got?
Okay. All right. This president, and we'll move on, had 8 hard-boiled eggs, a handful of Fat Rascals, which is a biscuit with currants in it, and 4 cups of coffee for breakfast every day, this president.
8 hard-boiled eggs?
8, dude. Stay away from that guy.
That dude must have been listening to podcasts with the bros.
Yeah, on that carnivore. Definitely eating it off a wooden cutting board, for sure.
All right, who you got?
That's Teddy Roosevelt.
That actually checks, because he would have been listening to the broadcast if he were still alive today.
And then I found out he didn't like being called Teddy. He was not a fan of his own nickname.
I did not know that.
Yeah, well, that's what the guy in the TikTok said. He's not exactly an expert. He recreates breakfast, okay?
Like Neesmith misses the 3. Ooh, 8 hard-boiled eggs. That seems a little intense from your boy, Teddy. What else you got? Closing tabs.
You referred to me as Dustin Hennessy, and I would tell you in college, Hennessy was half of my favorite drink. Or you're a little bit older, but did you guys at South Carolina used to drink Incredible Hulks, which is half Hennessy, half Hypnotic?
No, but that sounds atrocious.
No, it would turn neon green. It was fire.
I saw that.
And it would mess you up hard. It would mess you up hard. I was a big fan.
Here comes the Knicks, although a turnover. It's a 6-point game, 93-87. The Pacers lead. What else you got?
Pacers just have too many options. That's the problem right now.
Miles Turner misses a 3, and we're going to have a foul on Toppin. Go ahead.
I've been meaning to run this quote by you. I know we already did the PGA at Quail Hollow, but this quote from Hunter Mahan, I don't know if you saw him describing the course. Quote, Quail Hollow is like a Kardashian. It's very modern, beautiful, and well kept, but it lacks soul or character.
Ooh, that's a scathing.
Hunter Mahan, who are you to fire shots like that at the Queen?
That was scathing and mean. What else you got on the way out here?
Well, also not false.
Bucket and
Banya.
one for the Pacers. Go ahead.
Banya is a type of Russian steam bath. We learned that from a caller. I'm still waiting for an invite because I want to check it out.
You're more than welcome to go. Next time you're in Los Angeles, stop by. Bring your boo.
Banya.
Dustin Hennessy. Good job. Naya, thank you. Ryan Smith, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.